And welcome back, everybody, along with the Judge Phil Houck. Yes, that is correct. The name from yesteryear. Judge Phil Houck with us here tonight as we work through some of our technical issues. But Phil couldn't ask for a nicer evening for college football.
Joe,
here.
Is this a little bit of a contrast to what we were facing last week about this time?
Just a bit.
96 degrees. The football game that I was at in a different part of the state in Indiana, it was 96 degrees on the field at game time, and just stifling. Today is the proverbial perfect football day. What do we got? About 68 degrees, sunshine, beautiful facility here at Marian University, no question about that. And two great teams, and great is a key word today. We got a great head coaches. We've got a great quarterback at St. Francis, arguably the best in the NAIA, maybe the best ever in the NAIA. Lots of greatness on this field. Two great programs. They've won 3 of the last 5 national titles.
And I'll tell you what, talking about a great quarterback, you had a chance before the ball game to run into another one of the former Cougar great quarterbacks, in fact, the very first one.
I had a great conversation with Jeremy Hibelin down on the field. Jeremy Hibelin, and I said, well, how do you feel, Jeremy, about all your records falling? And, of course, Nick Ferrer is rapidly knocking on the door of all of his records that Jeremy Hibelin set. He lost his all-time touchdown record a week ago or 2 weeks ago that Hibelin had set. But, you know, he says he said all the right things. He said that's what you play the game, and you know, you hope that somebody comes along and can learn from what you see, what you did, and have something to shoot at to try and be a little bit better. He feels good about it. He went down and he embraced Nick Ferrer down on the field before the game, along with Coach Donnelly, gave him a big hug. Jeremy Hibelin, a great name from the early days of Cougar football. I felt like I had never left seeing Jeremy Hibelin down on the football field.
It's great to see him, and along with a lot of other former Cougar greats at the recent summer 20-year festivities in Fort Wayne. Let's take a closer look at the matchup here tonight. The Knights of Marian University come in at 2-1. They're ranked number 8 under head coach Mark Henninger in his 5th year. They are 1-0 here at home. And a year ago, Phil, they were 11-1. They won the Mid-States Football Association Mid-East League Championship 6-0. And the showdown ball game, though, they lost 17-0 here on this field, shut out by Eastern Oregon in the playoffs, and that prevented the Cougars really and Marian in meeting again in the playoffs. It was a win during the regular season by Marian in Fort Wayne. That was a game that St. Francis led 21-14 at halftime, but USF never scored again in the second half.
Right, in the second half of that football game, that running game for Marian just kind of took over, and of course they had a pretty good receiver last year, some guy named Hogan or something like that, who now plays for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, so, he's been activated off the practice squad.
So some really good. Another great Cougar that I saw down on the field before the game, Seth Coate, of course, the other NAIA legend who was playing last year in the matchup between these two teams. So some great names. Certainly a surprise last year when Marian lost that game in the semifinals or the quarterfinals, because everybody thought that was going to be the Cougars' opponent in the semifinals. And
that sent St. Francis instead down to Georgia to take on Reinhardt. Cougars this year, though, ranked number 1 after that national championship run. They are 4-0 under Kevin Donnelly in his 20th season, the one and the only coach that the Cougars have had in their football program. A year ago, of course, St. Francis 13-1, 5-1 in the Mid-East League, the lone loss, of course, coming against Marian. They beat Baker 38-17 to win the NAIA title.
A couple of words about Kevin Donnelly that Jeremy Hibelin had for me. He goes, you know, and I talked to him after he had talked to Coach Donnelly a few minutes ago, and he goes, you know what? He said, going up to him, he hasn't changed one bit. I felt like a 19-year-old kid again. I was kind of scared to talk to him. So Kevin Donnelly, talk about greatness, the 10th all-time winning coach in the history of college football game, the most winningest active college football coach in the country today, Kevin Donnelly on that field and on that sideline for the St. Francis Cougars.
Well, you look at how these teams match up as far as scoring offense. The Cougars come in the number one team not only in the Mid-States, Phil, but also number one in all of NAIA football, averaging 55 points a ball game. Marian in the MSFA right behind at 38.7. As far as points given up, the Cougars are giving up 18.5 a ball game. That ranks second in the Mid-States. And Marian's been giving up an average of 27 points a ball game. Some of the real differences, though, you look at pass defense. Marian is giving up over 300 yards a game through the air. Cougars third best, giving up 199.5. But on the rushing offense, that's the bread and butter you kind of talked about a little bit for the Knights. They're averaging 260 yards a game. On the ground, that's number one among all Mid-States teams and number 7, I believe, among all NAIA football teams. And that puts them up against the Cougar defense, which is giving up just 57 yards a game on the ground, 6th nationally, number 1 in the Mid-States. But a lot of things can go into game, but kind of that is the bread and butter. Can the Cougar defense stop the run game by Marian tonight?
Well, it'll be strength on strength in that situation, and great linebackers for the Cougars. And Eric Hemmelgard, the big nose tackle for USF, those are the guys that make that run defense. Pearson Harness, Eric Dunton at the linebackers position that make that run defense go. On the other side of the ball, though, with the Cougars, USF, Joe, how do you stop it? It's balanced, and as long as they run the football today, you just know that the passing game is going to work for USF. And so how do you stop that? Because if the Cougars, Marian will not know which direction to go on any given down, whether USF is going to run or pass, and that then makes the play action game devastating for USF. That's the value of balance in your offense. That's what USF has got. Marian, on the other hand, a run-first team that uses the run to set up the pass.
Well, this does not need any build-up because obviously the circle date on both calendars, both here in Indianapolis and in Fort Wayne. And the fact is that Cougars have lost 2 straight ball games now to Marian. They did win in 2015, outscoring the Knights 20-0 in the 4th quarter here, and came back to win that ball game 45-42. But interesting, Phil, that the series historically is tied 6-6. And really the irony, both teams have won 3 times at home and 3 times on the opponent's field.
It's really, another oddity is that, of course, the only loss that Marian had in 2015 was to USF, and then Marian goes on to win the national championship that year. And last year, the only loss that St. Francis had was to Marian during the regular season. USF wins the national title. So these two teams have been dominant teams in NAIA football for really a long time now, but particularly in the last 5 years they have been. And so what a better, we've got a perfect day for football, and it's just a great matchup that we're all looking forward to.
Referee tonight is Tom Burns. As we get ready for the kickoff, I missed the coin toss as we were chatting here. We do not have our normal wireless system because of some technical issues. So it will be Marian kicking away from right to left. Cougars will get the ball back first to start this ball game. And out of the north end zone will be Justin Green. And here comes the approach and comes the kick, and we're underway. And it's Green locating it at the 1, bobbles it for a moment, works to the 10 right side, middle of the field, finds a bit of a hole, works across the 20-yard line, and that is it. So we are underway, and St. Francis against Marian for the Franciscan Bowl.
Yeah, Justin Green looked like he had a seam, Joe, if he had continued to head towards the sideline on the far side of the field, but he cut it up and he ran into a brick wall there of Marian defenders. So we'll get our first look of the day at Nick Ferrer, and you know, this guy's got everything. He's setting all kinds of records. He's done it for a long time. He's a very, very confident quarterback. He is an elite quarterback, and he just could be good enough to maybe get a look at the next level.
Rocky James split wide to the left side. He'll be defended by Jerron Clark. That'll be an interesting matchup all game long. Here's a run by Green up the middle. Stoned up initially at the 20, but pushes the pile forward to about the 23-yard line. You look at the St. Francis offense, they average 270 a man. Tackle to tackle. Connor Holcomb, the transplanted guard, now working at center. Austin Smoger and Jalen Gamble, the guards. Nick Shoemaker and Alex Woods at 265, the senior, the other tackle. That's a gain of 4. Let's call it 2nd down and 6. Early moments of the ball game. Dan Rixey is back in. Remember 2 weeks ago, he caught his first touchdown of his career. No, he didn't catch just one. He caught 4 of them, but sat out last week's game. Here's Green again. Starts out right side, looking for a block. Does not look like he's going to get one. Fights right back to the line of scrimmage, about the 23. Good defense on the left side. Mac Drutcher, I believe, was there to get the initial hit, and that'll bring up 3rd down and still 6.
Marian putting a lot of guys in the box, which kind of surprises me. USF on those first 2 plays trying to establish the run. One of the keys, as I was told by some of the coaches this week, was that they felt that they needed to get 100 yards out of Green in the running game. If they did that, that will open everything up that they might want to do in this game.
Cougars trying to reach their own 29-yard line on this snap. They work from the right side hash mark. On 3rd downs, Cougars were 9 of 19 for 47%. Here's Ferrer looking, throws over the middle, and that's wide and incomplete. Double coverage out there, but could not lock up with the intended receiver, and it'll be 3 and out for the Cougars as they'll kick the ball away.
I think that was Boswell over there, the intended receiver in the far flat. He was laying on the ground, though, and had a guy laying on top of him. He went down while the ball was in the air. I don't know. But that ball was at least delivered in a place where it wasn't going to be interception. But on their first drive of the day, USF is going to punt.
Joe Nepper back, waits right around the 10-yard line. I believe that's Johnny Willem back there. In punt return, kick is away, high, wobbly ball. And it will be fielded at the 37. And here's a run across the 40-yard line near sideline. So it'll be very good field position for the Marian Knights. They'll have possession for the first time offensively. We have no score with 13:20 remaining in this opening quarter.
Malachi Mannion on the kick coverage there for USF. He had the tackle, but as you said, Marion's going to start with some really nice field position. H&L Electric is your full-service electrical contractor. From commercial and industrial to residential, H&L can handle the smallest to the largest of projects for your business or residence.
Luke Johnston started the first 8 games last year for Marian, then got hurt. Now they run the ball off to the right side, and that's a gain of about 3-4 yards right up the middle off the B gap that time. This offensive line for the Knights averaging 276 a man tackled. Darian McAllister at center, Ryan Borders and Dalton Button are the guards, and Jaron Bush along with Logan Glaze out of Leo High School at the other tackle.
2 really good running backs that will both see action here today for the Marian Knights.
Johnson repositions the running back near side, and on a sweep coming right side angling. They are close. They've got a first down. That give was to Charles Sallery getting the start here tonight. Carried 10 times last week for 127 yards, scored a rushing touchdown, and they moved the chains into Cougar territory, 1st and 10.
Little zone play to the far side, and Sallery's the small guy, the speed guy for MU, and he just found a seam after running along the line and cut it up really quickly, and USF has got a player down.
Yeah, we'll check, get the glasses. We have an injury timeout as they work on the fallen Cougar, as we have 12:44 remaining in this first quarter. We have no score. Timeout down on the field. Let's step out. This is Cougar football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana.
Lee Stewart, strong safety. Looks like he's okay.
Check 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We may have gotten rid of the.
Okay, we're back to action. First pass over. Well defended there.
Well, we are back to live action as we had incomplete pass coming down the left sidelines as we work on some little technical issues, but I believe we solved one of our problems for those of you back in the studio.
And the first on first down, a pass into the flat on the near side up the sideline went incomplete, so now we go to second and 10 from the 45.
Johnson looks to Sallery again, hands the ball. He's got running room the second level, sprints away in a foot race. He's got a chance to score inside the 5 to the 2, and touchdown, Marian. So just like that on the blast play, time of the score at 12:14.
Wow.
Trying to get the distance on that, Phil.
I got 45 yards, Joe, and Salary is the speed guy. There's no doubt about that. Once he broke into the opening, he was able to run away from that Cougar secondary, and the Cougars facing some adversity early in this football game. We're less than 3 minutes in, and MU has taken the lead on the first score of the day.
I don't know if you got the number on the injured Cougar out there. We'll check that in a moment, as it's going to be Cameron Fox attempting the extra point on the way. That is good. So very quickly, Marian here at home jumps on top of the #1 ranked Cougars, 7-0, and we'll step out. This is Cougar football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana.
The injury was to Lee Stewart, and he got up and ran off the field. So I think he's okay. I'm looking for him on the sideline now.
I need more hands. And welcome back to Indianapolis, along with Judge Phil Houck. I'm Joe Parsons. So a 45-yard dash to pay dirt by Charles Salary. Marian on the board early, leading at 7-0. And just the way we started the ball game, it'll be the Knights kicking off right to left to USF.
Well, USF right off the bat, they went 3 and out, gave up some field position after their first possession on the punt turnover, and 2 nice running plays for the Marian Knights, and then Salary got an opening, and he just split the safeties, and he was off to the races into the end zone. 45 yards, Marian with the early lead.
Comes the kick long, end over end, down deep, and Green's got it at the 5. Looks to the right side and slipped up, falls at the 20-yard line. So Justin Green losing his footing, trying to make a cut. And once again, it'll be not the greatest field position for USF, working from left to right, but playing now from behind, trailing at 7-0.
Now, it looked like Green was going to have some room to run, but then inexplicably the slip as he tried to change direction. So USF will start in almost identical field position to what they had on their first drive at the 20. And strange of strange things, we're at this point in the game, and Nick Ferrer hasn't completed a pass yet. He's only taken 1 pass.
1st and 10, Cougars working from left to right. They work at the right side hash mark, shotgun formation. Ferrer, short drop, looks left, has a catch. There's Rocky James, pivots, works to the 25 and pushed out of bounds up around the 27-yard line. So first thing positive for St. Francis. Rocky James last week against SXU led the Cougars with 11 catches, 166 receiving yards, and 2 aerial touchdowns.
Yeah, James having a terrific season in just his sophomore year. Didn't see a lot of action last year, saw some. 7 touchdowns already, 486 yards, and some spectacular catches last week for his touchdowns.
Gain of 8, 2nd down and 2, this time from the left side hash mark. Green, the running back, offset behind to the left. He'll get the call, cuts up the middle, and squirts for the first down across the 30, and they'll mark it up close to the 31-yard line. Justin Green last week ran for 2 touchdowns and 82 yards. So the ball setting Phil right at the 31-yard line. And again, Cougars trying to settle down and shake off that early jitters when they went 3 and out and then gave up the rushing touchdown to Marian. 2 wide to the right side now. Ferrer sets up in the pistol. He's got 1 wide to the left. Waiting for the snap. Green lined up behind him. Looks again to hand the ball to Green, and there's nothing there. It came pouring through, and Green, he's upended back around the 26, 27-yard line for a loss.
His defensive line is penetrating, and that's a surprise. We would not have expected that coming into this game, as well as the offensive line for USF has performed all season long. And what we're also not seeing is we're not seeing that quick start that it really has been the trademark of the Cougar teams so far this season, and we've got a timeout on the field.
Got one of the Knights down now, so we expected it would be a physically challenging ball game, and indeed it has been. Lee Stewart got nicked up a little bit earlier on a previous defensive series, and now one of the Knights is down. Knights, as we mentioned last week, very good win against an Olivet Nazarene improved team. But Marian had 4 sacks in that ball game, 2 interceptions, both by Brendan Smith. He also had 5 tackles for loss and a fumble recovery. As they look, and let's see who it is coming off the field.
That's Patrick Shaw, junior inside linebacker, and he's needing some assistance to come off the field. Looks like he's got something with his right leg, so that's not a good sign for him at all.
We have 10:55 remaining here in the opening quarter. St. Francis with the ball back now at the, well, let's see, it'll be at the 27-yard line, I believe it is.
Yeah, after the loss of 4 on first down, after the first down on the first pass of the game for Ferrer.
Just one safety back for the Knights now. Ferrer holds, extends both hands high, drops the throw, rushes coming, screens the ball. He's got Gagner. Gagner cuts to the 30, works to the outside across the 35 to the 37. That'll be short of the first down. Cougars on third down coming up, trying to reach their own 41, and they have been one of the most efficient third down teams in all of NAI football. In fact, number 1 coming in, Phil, 41 of 62 for 66%. Number 1 in the Mid-States, also number 1 among all NAIA football teams, but they need about 4 yards now on this snap. Gagner stays in, up on the slot to the near side. Rixey wide of him. And Rocky James wide to the left side. Ferrer looks left, throws left. Here's a comeback catch. James has got the first down. Just a little spin move after he caught the ball. I believe he was going to have the first down anyway where he caught it, Phil, but just to make sure.
Yeah, James showed good presence of mind, though. He knew he was close to that stick, and instead of trying to take that big loop after catching the ball where he could have lost yardage, he immediately turned and said, I'm going for that stick, and he comes down with the first down catch. So the Cougars putting together 2 first downs here on their second drive of the day. They're on the move.
Proving field position now for St. Francis at the Cougar 43-yard line. They've got a blocking back now, offset to the left. Marian shows blitz up the middle. Here's Ferrer looking, throws near side. He's got Boswell, but that one sailed on Ferrer. Didn't get a chance really to check the wind conditions. They told us at kickoff it was out of the east-northeast, about 9 miles an hour. That might bring up a little bit of a crosswind, but that time the ball seemed to sail on Ferrer.
Yeah, it sailed right out of his hands too, and that was an odd-looking motion, not something we're used to seeing out of Ferrer. And really, the flags are pretty calm right now. So that's pressure coming on him, I would guess, is what caused that flutter.
Second down and 10 from the 43. Crispman comes in wide to the left, replaces Rocky James. They'll give to Green. There's a penalty flag as Green is tripped up and gets back to the stick and maybe another yard. But let's see which way the penalty is going to go on, as the Cougars have had some issues with penalties, as they come in averaging over 70 yards a game in penalties. And they are backing up. Our referee Tom Burns talking to several of his crew. And let's see if the Knights might take the play instead of the penalty. They're going to come over and check with Mark Henninger what the options might be. Still a little bit of, well, quite a bit of sunshine, in fact, not a cloud in the sky.
Great atmosphere on campus today. We've got a big crowd, a lot of Cougar fans. As you can see, the visiting stands are filled with blue shirts.
Boy, Phil, they're taking an eternity to sort out the options.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's all about. There seems to be some decision.
Looks like they're going to decline the penalty, take the play. It was procedure.
After they appointed a committee.
Yeah, really.
To study it.
So it will be third down, I believe. Still 3rd and 10. Let's see where they did spot that football. Green, I thought, picked up a yard, but they're going to make it 3rd down and 9. And they will move about 1 yard.
So they give Green 1 yard on the carry, and here we go, 3rd down.
Cougars trying to reach the 47-yard line of Marian on this snap. Here's Ferrer. He's got motion right side by Gagner, giving ground, pumps, and he's hit for a sack. Took too long, and they came in right up the gut and sack him back inside the Cougar 35-yard line.
Credit Michael Ane, coming defensive lineman with that bull rush up the middle.
So a 4th down. And once again, Nepper will be called upon to punt the ball away. Remember, 2 years ago, the Cougars trailed big time and had a 20-0 rally in the 4th quarter to come back and steal victory. No rush. Nepper short punt, high wobbly ball. Fair catch is called by Willem as he fumbled the ball a little bit, but gathered it in. And it'll be Marian leading at 7-0 with the ball again at the 9th 34-yard line.
So Nepper on the really high unreturnable punt, not long, but that's actually some pretty good value to that in that you can't return it.
By the way, Lee Stewart back out there, Phil, so that's good news from a St. Francis standpoint.
Yeah, he left on his own power after being down on the field on the last series of plays.
Williams stays in, one of the wideouts. He'll be joined by Michael Eddie Armstrong. They're wide to the right. Luke Johnston looks to, and throws the ball near side's got a wide open catch at the 40, and they've got another 1st down. Cougars playing well off. Dutton wrapped up to make the stop. Again, that was a lot of space given to Brandon Dillon.
Good for a 1st down. The value of a tight end in an offense is he takes those underneath routes and he's covered by a linebacker, and he's a big target out there on the field. And
6'5" junior.
Yeah, the wide receivers just cleared the space out, and he was open underneath.
Now 2 protectors in for Luke Johnston out of the gun. 1st and 10. He gives a ground look, throws to, he's got a man wide open down the middle of the field, and they've got a chance to score again, and they will. And who else? It's Johnny Williams. So how about that? It will be a 46-yard touchdown pass play. And check it. That will be 54 yards on the touchdown play. And 2 quick strikes by Marian, and they're in the lead at the 7:50 mark, 13-0.
Well, it was a post pattern, and USF inexplicably left William wide open 25 yards down the field. Johnson had no pressure on him. He delivered a strike in stride, and William did the rest of the work. And
Cameron Fox on, booms the extra point try. It is good, and just like that, we're still only about halfway through the opening quarter already. Marian on top, 14-0, and we'll take a timeout. This is Cougar football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana.
Wow.
Back with the judge, Phil Houck. I am Joe Parson, and right now Kevin Daly wanting to check, did his team get off the bus?
I don't know. And, you know, everything that I did in preparation for this game indicated what a fast starting team USF has been. You know, going back really to the playoffs last year, streak of 13 consecutive wins by USF. And in this game, they've gotten off to everything but a fast start. They do have a couple of 1st downs. That's all they have to their name for this football game so far, because Marian, in their 2 offensive series, have scored rather easily.
Green is back deep in kick return. 3rd time already in this ball game. He's waiting for the Marian kickoff. Here it comes. End over end down the middle. Green waits at the 11. Looks straight ahead, trying to foul some blockers. Right side, cuts to the 20, 25, 30. Steps out of a tackle. Nice move inside. He's at the 42-yard line, across to the 45. Breaks out to the left side now. Inside the 40-yard line, 35, 30. Down the left sideline before he's finally pushed out of bounds. And that's got to be a late hit, I would think. Penalty flags through. We're thrown down there inside the 20-yard line. We will see, but Justin Green waiting for an explosive moment. He turned it on right there.
Explosive and patient and cutting back across the field, and a really beautiful kick return because he used his blockers, but he also turned on the Jets at the right time. So there's something for USF to hang their hat on. And lots of time left in this football game, even if you're down by 2 scores. That can be a game changer, a quick return like that, and I think they're going to tack some yards on because of the late hit.
Well, we assume that's what the case would be. Sometimes you never know. Tom Burns coming over to let us know. Personal foul it was against Marian. And that should be, what, half the distance to the goal. Marian comes in averaging 74.3 yards a game in penalties. They had 5 against Olivet Nazarene here last Saturday for 44 yards. But that one will set up the Cougars now first and goal inside the 15. It looks like they'll spot it at about the 12-yard line.
So great field position. USF obviously has to capitalize off of that play and hopefully turn that into a momentum changer for in a ball game where everything has gone against them early.
And you know, Phil, that Justin Green, a lot of pent-up frustration after the first couple of kick returns and really not finding much in the run game as well. Now they've got Gagner in up on the left wing. There's Rixey in motion right to left. Counter run comes. No, it's a play action fake. They give the ball to Rixey. Cuts at the 10. He's down inside the 10 to about the 8 before he's pushed out of bounds. That should be a net gain of about 4. Now they're going to move it back around the 10-yard line, maybe the 9.
Play action to the near side, and then Frere turned and threw the ball to Rixey, who had some room to run, but he stopped trying to make somebody miss, and that actually ended up costing him a yard or 2.
Spotted at the 9-yard line. Cougars can pick up a first down without scoring. They've got second down, let's call it 7. Gain of 3. Frere out of the pistol. Stretch handoff to Green. Angles left, did not get much. And they are keying on number 17. No doubt about that. No surprise either. Gain of 1.
And I think USF was making it a priority in their game plan to establish the run. You know, maybe that isn't going to work today. And you got that Frere guy out there. I hear he's pretty good at passing the ball.
Frere last week against St. X was 29 of 44 for 351 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did suffer his first interception of the year and was sacked 3 times. Third down and 6. Frere with 2 wide to the right. Looks, now flush to his left, is going to run and sacked again. Didn't have the mobility to get away, and the ball will be outside the 10-yard line now. And it'll bring up 4th down, and let's see if Kevin Donnelly's going to bring in Gardner to attempt the extra point. Ball is back around the 12 where it started.
Yeah, you got to get points here, so it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. Gardner's going to come in and attempt. Cougars have not kicked a field goal yet this year.
0 for 2.
That goes back to the old days of the program when we would go through entire seasons without kicking field goals.
This will be a 29-yard attempt. Knepper's the holder, basically from the left side hash mark. Gavin Gardner trying to get the Cougars on the board, trailing at 14-0 now. And the whistles blew right before the snap, and let's see what this is about.
I was focused on the holder there, so I didn't see what may have been happening up on the line.
Whistles blew, but
delay a game against USF, so going to move that back 5 yards, and this has just got to drive you crazy when you get a little momentum going and then you just start going backwards for 4 straight plays.
So the 29-yard attempt now becomes a 34-yard attempt. Gardner getting ready, measures it off. 5:12 remaining in the quarter. Here's the snap. Right-footed kick is on the way, long enough, but is it on target? And good. So the first field goal of the year from 34 yards out by Gavin Gardner. And the Cougars on the board, 14-3 with a timeout. This is Cougar football on the road on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. A year ago, the Cougars, they were 6 of 9 in field goal attempts. And Nix, remember, had that big one in the national playoff game, hit a 44-yarder, the longest of the year for USF, as they went on to beat Baker. So it's been a while, Phil, since we've seen a successful field goal.
Well, it's been a while since the Cougars were down 14-0 in the game, now 14-3. But at least they put some points on the board offensively. the defense needs to get on track a little bit, because so far Marian has had their way on their first 2 series. They've scored easily.
Gardner gets ready to kick it away from the 35, back deep. Here's the kick down end over end.
Good kick.
That's going into the end zone, and Sallery bobbles it and will pick it up and take a knee, so it'll be a touchback. Johnny William and Charles Sallery back there. Sallery with 2 kickoff returns this year has got along a 15. The guy you can worry about is Johnny William is ready. Caught a touchdown pass there tonight. He had 2 kickoff returns last week, including a 35-yarder, but he has a long of 45 on the year.
And he showed a great burst on that catch over the middle on the last offensive play of the game for Marian, where he caught the ball 25 yards upfield and took it the rest of the way, a total of 66 yards on the play.
Maurice Woodard checks into the ball game as the Marian running back. Luke Johnson, the tall, talented quarterback, 6'4" sophomore, and there was movement at the line of scrimmage. So we're going to have a penalty already, and looks like USF is backing up.
Encroachment. Marian looked like they were going to go into pass blocking mode on first down.
And this first quarter basically has been a nightmare for Coach Kevin Downley and the Cougar fans who have come out. By the way, in abundance, we have a big crowd here tonight at St. Vincent's Field.
You know, the way everything went so right last week for the Cougars, you almost, I guess the fates would suggest that some things were going to go wrong for you. We'll see how USF does in this little adversity they're having in
First
the
and 5 now for Marian. Johnson might be changing the play call at the line of scrimmage. Play clock shows 17. Still has some time. Barking out the signals, looks to hand to Wood. No, play action fake, throws in the flats, it's got a catch. And that one will be good for the first down, and nearly sprinting away for a penalty, for a touchdown, but there's a penalty float way on the near side here by the head linesman.
That's really odd, Joe. Far from the action, a flag went down. There weren't even players in the area.
You got to have eagle eyes to spot something, unless that's just a late flag.
We've got another conference down on the field. Wanting to make sure they get it right. I don't know, you think maybe some sort of a block in the back, maybe in that situation. You'd see holdings possible.
We've seen some crazy things here in the last couple of weeks.
But looks like they're walking backwards in USF's favor. Personal foul.
Can't really hear the announcement from Tom Burns, but obviously major penalty against the Knights.
Personal foul on Marian, so that's going to bring what was a big gain all the way back.
They'll spot the ball inside the 20. Nose of the football just inside the Knights' 20-yard line. The lights beginning to come up here. So it will be first down, but first down and 20, first down and 15, I believe, with the ball back at the 20-yard line. Here's Johnston again, changing the play call, and the whistles blow. That's procedure. They were set, so that'll cost them 5 more yards. Now Mark Henninger has got to wonder what's going on with his team.
Well, they go into that half set, and then the check with me type situation where everybody looks to the sideline.
They don't huddle up.
Right. And they all look to the sideline, but they had already set, and you can't do that.
So that'll move the ball back to the 15-yard line now. It becomes first down and 20.
Really a chess match takes place on every play between the defensive coordinators for USF and the offensive coordinator for Marian on that go check me situation.
Woodard stays in. Now they flip-flop him to the right side. They give the ball to him. Coming to try to come the left side. He's got an angle in the second level, and he's got clear running to the 40, 45. Cuts inside. Nice move inside the Cougar 30 to the 20-yard line, and finally knocked down. And the Cougars have not found an answer to the run game by Marian. They'll be in the red zone, leading at 14-3, with still just over 4 minutes remaining in the opening quarter.
Joe, 75 yards on that scamper, and USF, good blocking by Marian, but just a couple of bad run fits by USF. They just were out of position and diving at ankles and everything else. Nothing happening, just solid, good blocking. And officially that's 69 yards, and Marian is in business again. They've looked unstoppable today.
Micah Brown checks in as a blocking back, actually tight to the left side to give to Woodard again, trying to feel his way up the middle, stacked up at the Cougar 15 and driven back. So that'll be a gain of a couple. They spotted it at the 17 of St. Francis after that long run of 69 yards by Woodard. And it'll bring up second down, and well, let's see, they spotted still. Well, the ball is at the 15. The down marker's back at the 17. Now they're going to move it. Can't always believe what you see, can you?
Not in this game, not at this level.
So Johnson brings his team up to the line of scrimmage again, 2 wide to the left side, including Mikeldy Armstrong. And out of the pistol, now it is Charles Sallery back in there. Read option, they'll hand the ball. Sallery's grabbed from behind and dropped. That time, Eric, check it, was Marcus Stepp. And I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but that young man is playing with some purpose here tonight and coming in making a big play when USF really needed it. That'll be a loss of about 2 yards.
Yeah, good penetration on the left side. Step from that linebacker position on that side. Penetrated, got to the ball carrier. That's about the first time today we've seen penetration by the Cougar defense into the backfield of Marian.
1 wide to the right side now. It'll be 3rd down and 11. Approaching 2.5 minutes time remaining in the quarter. Stepping up, here's Johnson, throws to the corner, but to the middle of the field. Had a man open there. The pass is incomplete. Well, that ball bounded high in the air.
It did. I was thinking interception on that play. I think you were too.
But incomplete will bring up 4th down, and now it'll be a field goal attempt by the Knights as Cameron Fox is. Well, they're 0 for 3 this year on field goals.
Yeah, neither team, as good as they are and have been, had kicked a field goal until this game. Now USF has won early in this contest, and now Marian going for the second field goal.
This will be a 34-yard attempt just inside the right hash mark by Cameron Fox. 34-yard attempt on the way again, long enough, but is it on target? It is. So offsetting field goals, but it's still Marian back to a 2-touchdown lead over the number 1 ranked Cougars. 2:22 remaining in the quarter, 17-3 with the timeout. And this is Cougar Football on the Road on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. Welcome back, everybody, with the Judge Phil Houck. I'm Joe Parson. Cougars, we came in scoring defense, second best in the MSFA, giving up only 18.5 points a ball game through their first 4 games. They've already given up 17 here tonight, and we're not yet through the opening quarter.
Yeah, they've been great. Total defense, only giving up 256 yards per game. I haven't seen the quarter statistics yet. We will probably hear in a few minutes, but they've given up a boatload of yards in the first quarter on several big plays, including 2 touchdowns, one a long pass and the other a long run.
We will see Marian's strategy now on the kickoff after that long return by Justin Green that set up at least points on the board with a field goal. Will they kick to him? Will they pooch it? We'll find out momentarily. And it is long and deep, and Green backpedaling into the end zone, lets it hit, and it'll be a touchback. So USF will have to do it the hard way, setting up 1st and 10 and trying to make up this 14-point deficit against a very good and 8th-ranked team in the Marian Knights.
Joe, the Cougars probably in total offense, except, if you exclude the return yardage, which you do, but in total offense, about 20 yards in the first quarter so far. They did get 2 first downs on their second drive. They got nothing on their first drive. And when Green returned the ball and they were in business all the way down to the 15, all they did was go backwards on the last drive. So the USF offensively, this has been an absolute powerhouse, but tonight they haven't shown up.
Rixey and Boswell wide to the right. Boswell up on the slot. Ferrer's been sacked a couple of times already tonight. Looks to hand the ball to Green. He's got a hole up the middle. Cuts to his right side. That ends in a hurry. carried across the 30-yard line up to about the 32, maybe the 33-yard line. Still nonetheless a good run by Justin Green, good for about 8.
Quick hitting play, and if you can blast a few of those quick hitters, and it looks like that's going to be the order of the night, not the slower developing stuff against this really tough defense for Marian. If you can get that developed, then it's just going to make the passing game click that much more.
Christopher Oakley, a 6'4" sophomore in the middle, trying to anchor things for the Knights. Second down and short, second at about a 1. Green again cuts to his right, trying to get to the first down stick. Had to reach the 35, and second and third effort may have accomplished just that.
Yeah, they're moving the chains, and that was great effort. I thought it was going to be stopped short. Green kept the legs driving. That's a nice job, but you notice how that play was a little slower developing than the play before, and Marian is so quick with their front seven that they were there on the spot, making it really difficult to gain yardage on plays that are not quick hitting.
Inside of 90 seconds, time remaining in the first quarter. Rocky James wide to the left. Rixey stays in wide to the right, and flanked inside of him will be Boswell again. On 1st and 10, Ferrer, short drop, looks, now throws crossing patterns. Got Green out of the backfield across the 40. Bumped out of bounds up around the 44, 45-yard line where they mark him out of bounds. And you don't see really Justin Green figuring into the passing scheme all that often, but that was a good call. And the Cougars again, they move the chains or close to it. Are they going to take a look? And they do call it a first down.
Yeah, I think it was a good read by Ferrer on that play because he threw the ball right in the position where the blitzing linebacker came from. And in that situation, you utilize your running back, something like you said that the Cougars don't do a lot of, but on that play it worked well, so another first down.
We have 39 seconds remaining. They did stop the clock. Now it runs again. So we're about to see the final play or two of this first quarter. It is 17-3 Marian. Ferrer wants to throw again. Looks, steps up in the pocket, looking, throws over the middle. It's got an intercepted pass at the 40. That's a return right side to midfield. And left side, and now to the 35, to the 30, 25, 20, down the left side, and that is David Deal to the house and a touchdown from 60 yards on the pick six return.
Great return by Deal. He had 2 interceptions coming into this game, leading the club, and he's got another one, but way up the field there is a flag that came out right after that catch. Now, I don't know if it's interference, which is probably the likely call in that situation, but I'm not sure I saw interference.
Saw a Cougar receiver go down, but I can't tell you the circumstances. And Tom Burns, our official, he's got 5 of his striped compadres grouped around him, and they're all making a long march back upfield.
All the way back, so USF is going to catch a break there. Not that it's a break. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. But USF thought they were going to be down by 3 scores all of a sudden, and it's going to come all the way back. And if it's an interference call, well, maybe it's not an interference call. Maybe it is an interception, but there was a penalty that brings it all the way back. I don't know.
Waiting for the indication again from the referee.
Yeah.
You go figure this one out.
It's USF
so
ball.
It's after the.
No, it's USF football.
Why at the 40?
That I don't know.
Well, ours is not the question.
Let me think about that one. It certainly works for USF, and timeout being called on the field, and maybe they're going to take a look at that again.
Well, there's 8 seconds remaining, so we're not at the end of the quarter. We'll keep things right here and let you know another tough one coming up next Saturday back at Darcy Stadium. It'll be a 12 noon affair, and Concordia's Cardinals come in from Michigan. Concordia going in today's game against Lindenwood Belleville. They were undefeated at 4-0, ranked in the top 25. Other games, Taylor playing at St. Xavier today, and Missouri Baptist on the road at Siena Heights.
That game against Concordia next week, if things continue to form, will be the 4th straight game against a top 25 team that USF has been involved in. And but they've got their hands full here today the #1 team in the country, the USF Cougars, against the #8 Marian, and Marian has had their way early on in this contest. We're just about one play away or so from the end of the first quarter.
Well, we've talked about it so many times this year. Everybody guns for #1, trying to take down #1.
I asked the coaches about it. I go, is it they got a bigger target on their back now, or what is it? And they go, actually, they've talked about the confidence they've got and the confidence that their team derived from winning a national title, and also they've been challenged to see, can we be one of the best teams ever? Well, the first quarter has not looked like that today, but there's still plenty of time left.
Should be the final snap of this first quarter. Ferrer with 2 wide to the left side, looks to run Green. Green, middle of the field. Tripped up. He'll have about 4 yards on the final play. Brings it to the Marian 37, 36-yard line as the final second ticks off. So that's a gain of 3. Second down and 7 when we return to St. Vincent's Field here on the campus of Marian University. But all Knights so far, 17-3 after 1 here in Indy. And this is Cougar football on Redeemer Radio, WRDF 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. I don't know what you guys did, but our extreme appreciation, you got rid of that echo.
What was the call on that pass? Did they call
You can run a minute here.
Why does the ball end up on the 40 though? That was 15 yards? Okay. I thought it was more than 15. Thank you.
Back in Indianapolis with the judge, Phil Houck, I'm Joe Parson. Cougars are ready with the offensive unit back on the field. They have second down and 7 from the 37-yard line of Marian. 17-3 Knights.
Joe, the official call on the play that we weren't sure about was it was interference, and it was a 15-yard penalty from the spot. So that's how they ended up on the 40.
Here's Ferrer, looks to throw to the right. He's got an open catch. That's James tripped up as he tried to work to the middle of the field. Does bring it to inside the 30 to the 27-yard line, and that's good for a Cougar first down.
Well, USF moving the football a little bit now, and make no mistakes, this is an explosive offense, and a 14-point deficit can disappear really quickly if they get their act together. Of course, Marian, a great defensive team, and they're going to have something to say about that.
17-10 looks a lot better than 17-3.
Yeah, I'd feel a little more comfortable with that if I'm on the sideline for the Cougars.
Rixey stays in. He'll be joined by Boswell out there to the right side. Ball basically placed right in the middle of the field now, 2 wide either side. And Ferrer looking at a blitz now, hands to Green. Starts right, cuts left, tripped up, got to the 25, carries tacklers down to about the 23-yard line. So Justin Green looking for that daylight, and there's a late penalty flag thrown high in the air. Somebody said something.
Somebody said something, and usually language in and of itself, unless it's really bad, doesn't elicit laundry.
Now Rixey looking to get involved verbally with one of the Knights. You can't do that.
It was interesting to see some of the comments from both sides of the equation, both of these teams this week.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against St. Francis. Didn't catch the number. Don't necessarily need to.
The feed from the field isn't all that good, but definitely unsportsmanlike conduct. And
that'll move the ball back to the 38-yard line. And again, Kevin Donnelly will not be happy with the lack of discipline and composure by his team, especially when you're moving the football.
And that's one thing that was emphasized this year and this week, and I'm sure on both sides, because yeah, these teams made no bones about the fact they don't like each other very much, but they respect each other.
So it will be second down and 20 with the ball at the 38. Ferrer dances, throws the ball. He's got a catch by Rixey. Tripped up. He gets some of the penalty yardage back to the 32. And that'll bring up third down.
Cougars started this drive on their own 25 after the kickoff touchback.
Cougars were just 1 of 4 in third down situations in the first quarter. And they also had 2 penalties for 10 yards.
Well, they've set themselves up with a long one here, although you could call this 4-down territory.
Got to get the ball inside the 19 on this snap, but Kevin Danley down 17-3. May feel his team's got to be in 4-down yardage area. 2 wide to the left side. Here's the blitz coming. Ferrer steps out of traffic. Looks, throws over the middle's got a catch by Rocky James, then hit from the behind at the 24, maybe the 23-yard line. That'll be short of the first down. Now, do you go for a field goal or do you try to pick up the extra 6 yards?
Well, you've got about 42 yards. It'd be about a 42-yard attempt.
Cougars going to go for it. They're going to keep the offensive unit out there, trying to reach again just outside the 18, inside the 19 on this snap. Rocky James has been certainly one of the primary receivers. They come up on him on press coverage to the outside by the corners. Crowd coming alive now as Ferrer looking to throw. Short drop, looks, throws, and there's a low ball, and it is incomplete on 4th down. Trying to sit down with his back to the end zone was Rocky James, just could not find the handle. And the 4th down stop will give Marian the football. It will remain a 17-3 ball game with 12:22 to play in the first half.
Good pattern, good idea, good placement on the field. Everything was done right on that play except the final execution. The ball was delivered on a dart, on a dime, got into the wrists, maybe off the forearms, bounced right out of Rocky James's hands, and the ball goes over on downs to the Marian Knights.
Well, we've had 2 big plays by Marian so far tonight. A 45-yard Charles Sallery touchdown run. Then Johnny William on a receiving touchdown from Johnston, good for 54 yards. And then offsetting field goals of 34 yards each, one by Gavin Gardner, the other by Cameron Fox. Now Johnston gives ground, looks near side, throws the ball. He's got a man out here, and the ball is fought for. Let's see who comes up with it. They're going to rule it. An interception by St. Francis, as it was Stan Jackson that stole the ball away from the intended receiver.
And you've got some really upset Marian Knights on the sideline. That's where the play ended up, out of bounds on that sideline. And it looked like the offensive player and defensive player both came down with the ball simultaneously, but the ruling was made immediately by the back judge there that it was an interception in USF's favor.
Now, I believe that Jackson, in the struggle going to the ground, was able to come up with a ball, so that he was the last man out, so to speak.
Yeah, it's kind of like who has more possession than the other, and there was no hesitation by the back judge. A big turnover early. USF now with a chance to get something back after giving the last drive up on downs pretty deep in Marian territory.
Got it at the Knights' 48-yard line after the Stan Jackson theft, and I do mean that literally. Here's Ferrer giving ground, wants to set up the screen, but takes time, throws. He's got Rocky James on the left corner, inside the 10 to the 5, did not score, but knocked out of bounds inside the 3 at about the 2-yard line. Let's see where they spot it back around the 3, maybe the 4. But it'll be 1st and goal, USF.
James got himself wide open on the sideline, had at least a 10-yard cushion between him and anyone else. Although the safety was deep enough that he was able to knock him out of bounds before James could score. But USF now inside the 5, and Ferrer looks like he is on track with his passes now. USF's just got to make some plays on the other end of that equation.
Boswell up on the wing to the left side. A little differently. He comes in motion now, left to right. Here's Ferrer, looks that way, now checks off, throws over the middle, and he's got a catch. Rixey, touchdown.
Nice.
From 4 yards in the backside of the end zone at the 11:35 mark, and the Cougars cash in on the Stan Jackson interception. Rixey from Ferrer for 4 yards and a touchdown to make it 17-9.
Okay, so now that's the stuff I've been seeing on the highlight films for the last year. I haven't been at these games as much, but Ferrer looked sharp on those last 2, and really has looked sharp on about his last 5 passes, delivering them on a dime, and Rixey elevated in the back of the end zone to come up with that catch. A great play, Ferrer to Rixey.
Gardner trying to make it a 17-10 ball game. Right-footed kick is long enough and on the way and good, and we've got a game. Finally, 11:35 remains in the half, 17-10 with a timeout. Do we have a penalty flag out there?
Another penalty flag. We have seen a few of those today.
Tell you what, we'll take the break anyway. We'll be back with more. This is Cougar Football on the Road on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana.
I'll try and do Tipman when we come back.
Cougars come up with a big play, capitalizing on that interception by Stan Jackson, and then really credit Rocky James, Phil, with getting him down deep with that catch. I thought he had a chance to score, did not get into the end zone, but one play later. And good job by Ferrer running the check downs. He wanted to go to Boswell. To the right, you could see it was not there. And to look to the backside of the end zone, and there was Dan Rixey.
Yeah, and he had to deliver it on a dime. Fans of St. Felix Catholic Center in Huntington, Indiana offers one-day and overnight retreats with over 70 rooms. Be sure and visit Our Lady in her grotto and walk the retreats and walk this 30 scenic acres. St. Felix is the former home of the Blessed Solanus Casey. Visit their website at sfcatholiccenter.com to schedule your next meeting or retreat. The St. Felix Catholic Center in Huntington, Indiana.
Penalty, by the way, was against St. Francis. It'll be enforced on the kickoff. They'll tee it up back at the 20-yard line.
And, Joe, it was a big one because they're taking it back 15 yards. So the penalty numbers and mistakes racking up on both sides of the equation here in this game that, these teams just don't seem to like each other.
Got to play whistle to whistle, though, and maintain your composure. Here's the kick by Gardner down deep, end over end, fielded inside the 20 at the 18. And a run up to the middle across the 30-35. And the game, the ball popped out free. St. Francis thinks they've got it. We'll wait for the officials coming in. No indication yet which way. Cougars are running off the field. They think they've got the ball. Officials diving in there in the scrum, trying to sort the bodies out. And we'll wait. Still no indication. And the Cougars have got it on the fumble at the Marian 35, and boy, this game has turned around in a hurry.
Coming up with that ball for St. Francis. Number 55. I don't have a 55 on my roster, Joe. How can that be? But USF was certain they had that football, but boy, there was sure a scrum, not surprisingly, down the ground, and it took a long time for the officials to sort that out.
Is this a wild game or what?
Yeah, so far, just nuts. 17-10 now. Marian still in the league, but USF now looking to take advantage of the second straight turnover.
Andreas Espino-Gomez into the game, wide to the right side. Boswell up in the slot. Rocky James wide left. Now the corners play off. Little motion by Gegner off the left wing as Ferrer wants to throw again. They pinch in. He steps up in the pocket. Now checks off, throws in the middle. Boswell's got it inside the 20. And Sean Boswell has made a career here at Marian down the middle of the field.
And Joe, that pass was a laser beam. It's just like he teleported the football on a rope straight. I know they're all cliches that I'm using here, but it really describes it. If you're at home and you're trying to imagine what it looked like, 25 yards on a rope straight into Boswell's hands.
Might remember 2015, it was Boswell had the winning touchdown, again almost the same spot. Now they run Green. Green wrapped up, got a yard or two, dragging the tacklers with them down to about the 17 or 18-yard line. Big boys Michael Adi wrapped up on him. That's a gain of 1, second down and 9.
Joe, in the first quarter of this game, USF only had 42 total yards. 37 of those were passing, only 5 yards rushing, to 195 total yards of offense for Marian. But things are starting to turn around here in the second quarter.
Empty backfield now for St. Francis. 3 wide to the right, including Justin Green. Here's Ferrer, wanting to throw quick on the slants. Got a catch. There's Boswell. Spins away inside the 5. And down right at the 5. Now they can mark him down at the 6. Boy, it looked like he spun around but it will be first and goal for USF inside the 10.
Well, they're going to say after the 11-yard gain that he dragged his knee, I guess, and they're going to push the football back down to the 7, actually. Now, that's really hard to imagine. Good field position, though, and it's first and goal from the 7-yard line.
I always begin to wonder, are you going to believe me or your lion eyes? Right?
Well, you know, we actually have a better view from up here. There's no doubt. Now another flag comes down. Go figure.
So which way this time will the penalty go? Cannot hear Tom Burns with his call. He's explaining. Always look to Kevin Donnelly on the sidelines. Coming back.
I think they're going to call a delay a game. And, you know, with that penalty and everything else, I'm surprised they set that clock that fast.
Had too many, had a legal substitution. 12 men out there.
That'll do it.
So that'll move the ball back to the 12-yard line. First and goal from the 12.
USF had an extra guy in their huddle.
Chris Smith is checked in as blocking back off to the left side. And is it a wildcat? No, they pitch the ball to Green and tries to work his way down inside the 10 to about the 9. He'll pick up about 3 tough yards. Always tough to run to the short side, too.
No doubt about that. And Green was lucky he got to the corner really fast, but there just isn't that much of a corner or no room to work with. Bringing up second and goal now from the 9-yard line.
Cougars making wholesale offensive changes now. 9:14 remaining here in the first half. It's been a turnabout. Still 17-10, but the Cougars knocking on the door. Trying to get it in. Second down and goal from the 9-yard line now. Too wide to the left. Ferrer from the right side hash mark. Green offset to the left. Ferrer looks, throws in the middle. He's got a crossing pattern catch, but only to the 5. That was Rocky James. Good defense staying right with him. Can't tell the number yet. Bent over. But that was a pretty good job defensively that time.
Jerron Clark, the DB for Marian, did do a really nice job of executing that tackle after the catch. It looked like James may have some room to run.
Now it's third down and goal from the 5. Rixey. James. They go wide right. Gagner in tight to the left side. Motion now Boswell left to right. Here's Ferrer. Screens back. Rixey looking, needs a block. Didn't get it, but he scores anyway. Ran right through the would-be tackle. Nobody. I said Rixey. It's actually Justin Green on the 5-yard catch and run. So at the 8:20 mark, the Cougars unbelievably are a conversion away from a tie football game.
And that's the second touchdown pass of the day for Ferrer. And that means he's now got 31 consecutive games in his career, if you can believe it, with 2 or more touchdown passes. An incredible statistic. And the Cougars are, like you said, just a conversion away from tying this game.
Good to see Justin Green involved in the air game as well. Here's the kick on the way. It is good, and we've got ourselves a brand new football game. 8:20 remains in the first half, 17 apiece. And we'll be back. Cougar football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana.
You know who that 55 is?
Who is that?
That's all good ass.
Oh, no, I don't.
Do you know who 55 is? That got killed with the fumble? We'll text Bill.
Yeah, fine. If you find out, let us know.
No, you don't know who 55 is.
He's not on our roster.
I guess I got the coach, but who 55 is?
Scott probably got somebody that made the bus trip. But so Gardner with the extra point conversion to tie this ball game up at 17 all. And who would have thunk it? In the early moments of the ball game, after the Charles Salary run, then the Johnston to William touchdown toss, and you thought this might be a rout. But the other way, well, the Cougars have used some defense, a couple of key plays, Phil, and they're right back in it.
And capitalizing on 2 big turnovers, the interception at the 12:22 mark of the second quarter.
And then the kickoff return.
And then the fumble on the kickoff return after the field goal. So USF capitalizing on those mistakes, and we've got ourselves a ball game.
Got a feeling it's going to be interesting for yet the next 2.5 quarters. Here's the ball on kick down deep inside the 10. Return right side, a run up the middle. Cougars have had some adventures with kickoff coverage, but the return is across the 25 to about the 27-yard line, and Luke Johnston now will come into the game. Quarterback trying to shake off that last interception, and we'll see how this one fares the rest of the way with 8:13 remaining in the second quarter.
If you remember the first couple passes out of Nick Ferrer's hands in this game, one fluttered, one fell short of his target. It didn't look like him at all. Well, that has not been the case with about the last 7 attempts out of his hand. He looks just like the All-American that we know he is. That bodes well for the rest of this football game for USF.
Cougars bring Matt Muncie into the ball game. I believe Marcus Stepp is out there as well. They show 4 down linemen. Actually, Marcus Stepp is standing up. Here's Johnson, looks to hand the ball. Here's a cut to the right side, and right into the grasp that time of one of the Cougars who was waiting for him at the pass, and that was checking.
Malachi Marian is one of the guys. Right. One of the men on the tackle.
Nonetheless, a gain of 3, second down and 7. Trying to check and see on, I don't see the timeouts listed on this scoreboard. So it'll be second down and 7. Shotgun formation, Johnson short drop, screens the ball left side. And Coward trying to make the tackle, but there's Blake Schumacher to keep it to about a 2 or 3 yard gain up to about the 35. And that will bring up a third down call with the Knights needing about 4 yards to reach their own 39.
Schumacher over there on the tackle, along with Eric Dunton also helping out. Some good tackling after that pass was delivered out in the flat. Good effort.
This is a big play right now for both teams. Marian trying to regain some positive momentum. They have 2 wide, actually 3 wide to the right. Shotgun formation, Johnson. Cougars show blitz. Now it drops off. Johnson looks, throws over the middle. He's got the catch, but short, and that was a great play by Marcus Stepp. And we talked about it before with Stepp playing with some purpose, shall we say.
Little extra motivation out there on the field, and that was a great aggressive play, and it's just going to come up just a little less than a yard short. And so USF, you know, I'll go back over my score sheet here, but that may be our first stop of the day on downs, and I think we're seeing the first punt of the day for Marian.
This should be Luke Frayne. Had a long of 42 last week against Olivet Nazarene. Waits for the snap at the Marian 23. Rush is coming, got the kick away. Carson is back deep. Boswell rotating back. He's got it inside the 10. Starts wide, comes back left, isn't going nowhere. They've got him buried. So it'll be St. Francis with the football. That's the good news. The bad news, they're going to have to go a long, long way on this drive with 6:09 remaining in a 17-all tie.
Joe, I have 48 yards on that punt. That's pretty solid effort by Marian, and great coverage. It had great height too, good hang time. So Boswell, when he fielded the ball, really didn't have anywhere to go with the return.
Frayne has had a long of 55 this year. So the Cougars will have it at their own 13-yard line, 1st and 10.
And anytime you drop those punts inside the 20-yard line, that's kind of the demarcation between what you want to do, and that's exactly what he did. USF starting inside the 20-yard line.
By the way, Marian will get the ball to start the second half. Here's the give to Green, cuts back up the middle, nudges across the 15 out to about the 17-yard line. So he'll gain about 5. Second down and a long 5 coming up for St. Francis. Just trying to give themselves some breathing room, pick up a couple of first downs, and now with the clock approaching 5.5 minutes time remaining in this second quarter.
Well, they'd like to sustain a drive here that's not dependent on a turnover or some big break. They haven't done that all day long.
Ferrer, shotgun formation once again. Snap back to him. Short drop, loads, fires, right side's got a catch. And that's short of the first down across the 20 to the 22 to Dan Rixey. So now St. Francis looks at a third down call coming up, 3rd and a long 1.
You know, for a gain of about 3 yards on that play. That ball went all the way across the field.
Nothing coming easy in this ball game.
Yeah.
You got to make your own breaks.
Marian sound defensively in that they are in the right position. They make the tackles. They don't give up a lot of yards after the catch.
Cougars last week were 9 of 19 for 47% against SXU on third downs. They need little more than a yard. Empty set once again, 3 wide to the left side. Short drop. Here's the quick throw. Boswell slides down and has got it. Across the 25 to the 26-yard line. They'll move the chains.
Just a little curl, and it's almost like Boswell. And I think defenses underestimate him because of his stature. He's not a big guy, but man, and Jeremy Hibbelin told me this before the game because he knows Boswell. He coached him in high school, and he said, "I'm just telling you, you throw the ball within 5 yards of him, he's like Dutcher. He'll catch the ball."
Especially Phil on this field. He loves playing here against Marian.
Well, he's had some great memories and accomplishments here.
Now at the 27, Ferrer goes back to work, hands the ball to Justin Green, bobbing and weaving and nudges down, got low, brings it up short of the 30 or right about the 30-yard line. So the Cougars now trying to run their 4-minute drill, if you will. That's a gain of about 4. Boy, Green got it kind of lost down there amongst the big boys, just scooched down and got what he could get.
A very graceful runner. You love watching him when he gets into the open field, but even when he's inside like that, he can bob and weave a little bit and make it look easy.
Gegner up on the wing to the left side on this second down call. Here's Ferrer. He's got Rixey across the 40 and out of bounds. Up around the 43, maybe the 44-yard line is where they're going to spot it. And again, a quick hitting play. Little square out pattern run by Dan Rixey, and again Ferrer on the money.
Yeah, I can give you the number. It's about 7 straight completions now for Ferrer, and yeah, he's in the zone right now. He's got it together. That was just a little comebacker into the flat, but it goes for the first down, and USF now on the move, looking to score late in the first half.
Duke Blackwell's come into the ball game, part of a trips package wide to the left. And Ferrer, short drop again, looks, loads, fires. He's looking for Rixey down, and he reaches with the right hand, can't find it. That time, good delivery, just a little bit overthrown that time by Ferrer. Trying to find Dan Rixey down the right sidelines at about the 20 of Marian.
Rixey had a step, and of course I jinxed him by talking about how many in a row we had completed for USF. But you got to air it out, and there's always a value to that play that the defense has to respect that deep one, so that makes things sometimes click a little bit better underneath.
2 safeties back. For the Marian Knights is Ferrer with the running back Green lined up, hands the ball to him. Here's Justin, and stood up and got back to the line of scrimmage, and that is about it. It'll bring up still 3rd down and long.
Ooh, some good penetration on the far side of that defense for USF.
3rd down and 10. Cougars trying to reach the 46 on this snap. Under 3 minutes time remaining here in the first half.
Well, you don't want to give the ball back to Marian in good field position, so you hope for another first down at least on this drive to run the clock out.
It was 14-0 Marian, then 17-3, but right now 17-all. Ferrer taking time. Play clock is down to 3. They get it off. Ferrer looks, steps up, and is going to be spun around. Could not find anything and is sacked back inside the Cougar 35-yard line.
And Ferrer's now, that's the 3rd sack of the first half, and you know, against a team like Marian, you're just not going to be able to take 5-6 seconds out there in that backfield. You know, as good as Ferrer is, he's not the quickest of foot speed. He doesn't escape well.
And that's where you'd like to see him not taking that sack and get out of the tackle box and throw that ball away. Right
away. That's really possibly the one thing that separates him from being a great and an elite quarterback.
Nepper now on from the 22, gets the kick away, high wobbly ball. Fair catch is called at about the 21-yard line. So Marian trying to run their 2-minute drill with 1:38 remaining in the half in the 17-all tie.
Yeah, remember, Marian will get the ball coming out of the locker room as well, so, you know, unless there's a turnover here, they're probably going to have 2 straight possessions to try and break this tie that they're in with right now with USF at 17-all.
Cougars return to Darcy Stadium next Saturday at high noon. They'll take on Concordia University. And meanwhile, the Knights, they're right back here. And they'll take on St. Ambrose next Saturday.
Boy, that gauntlet in the Mid-States Football Association just continues for all these teams.
Concordia much improved.
Oh, yeah.
Each year they seem to get a little bit better. Salary comes back on as the running back, flanked to the right of Luke Johnston. He rolls back and looks to throw and throws over the middle. He's got a man out here, and that ball is not caught. Kind of in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Greg Miller, I believe it was. Down deep, a little down and out pattern, post corner route, but incomplete. That takes the clock down to 1:32 remaining.
Good defense by Lee Stewart and Blake Schumacher, the strong safety and the free safety on that play.
Thought for a moment the Cougars might have a chance at the pick because it looked like the ball was sailing a little bit. Second down and 10 with the ball back at the 22. From the left side hash mark is Johnson. Looks to hand to Salary. Salary right side, steps out of a tackle and trying to turn the corner and cannot do it. Spun around by Schumacher, and that's close to the sideline. Blake, you got to be careful about that. And wanted to make sure that he did not turn the corner.
Well, there's a flag that's up, Joe, at about the 25-yard line on the far side hash, and that came out very early in the play.
Generally, that does not bode well for the offense. But
I think you're probably right.
Chop block.
Yeah, that's a big one, too. As well, it should be a very dangerous play.
So that'll cost Marian. So now the complexion changes with 1:25 remaining. It's going to remain second down, but they'll walk off that ball from about the 22-yard line. Or will they? They pick up the flag back around the 25.
Well, it's a 15-yard penalty from there, so it goes half the distance. And USF looks like they're set up back there about the 12, 13-yard line.
They still have not.
No, they're still not moving it. But
now they do. Interesting. The flag was back at the 25. They
there we go.
Marked it off from the
11-yard line.
So it'll be second down.
And that makes sense.
And 21.
Went from the 22 to the 11, and we're going to have a timeout here, I think, called by Marian.
Marian. Minute 25 remains, 17-17 tie, and we'll be back in 30 seconds. This is Cougar Football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. Okay, at halftime we may call for 1 minute.
Cubs won.
No, I sorry. I meant at the end of the quarter, not now. That's all right. We'll figure it out. Johnson throws the home run ball up, and he does get a catch this time down the right sidelines. Looked like they were going to have a free play anyway. Cougars looked like they came offside. It'll be 1st and 10 up around the 42-yard line on that catch by Johnny Williams.
Nice catch on the sideline here. Williams went high into the sky, as they say, high-pointed the football. USF playing a little, maybe a little too loose under the circumstances with 1:16 still on the clock.
Now again, officials, I'm not sure what this is going to be about.
Lots of conferences in this first half. And
this should be a no-brainer, though, Phil.
Yeah, okay, there's a shock that they wanted to decline that penalty. But encroachment was called on USF. Of course, that penalty is declined after the big gain on the free play by the Marian Knights.
Now the Cougars trying to play and make sure that there's no damage. Here's Johnson again, sets up in the pocket, throws over the middle. He's got a man. That one is way high and wide, incomplete. Johnson was knocked down. Don't see any flags, though. Looking down the middle for Johnny Williams once again. So that stops the clock still with 1:05 remaining. Second down and 10. With the ball at the 43-yard line of the Marian Knights. Johnson brings him up to the line of scrimmage now. Shotgun formation, running back offset to the right side of Johnson. Drops again to throw. Looks over the middle. Throws. He's got a ball in and out of the hands. This time it was trying to find
Greg Miller Jr.
Greg Miller.
Yeah, sophomore wide receiver. And Greg Miller had the chance to make a big play there, because I think if he catches that ball in stride, he can run after the catch. But as they say, the ball hit him in a bad spot, so that brings up 3rd and 10 with 59 ticks left on the clock in the first half.
Knights trying to reach the Cougar 47 on this snap. Johnson now backs away. They do not huddle up. 3 wide to the left side. Play clock inside of 10. Johnson now comes up to the line of scrimmage, says something to McAllister, and also has his running back offset to the left side. Wants to throw again. Look, steps up, throws. He's got a wide open catch, and inside they'll score again. And the Cougars beaten on very porous defense. Johnny Williams. And how can you not recognize Johnny Williams?
57-yard score. Johnny Williams just got a step on this and no help from the safety down the seam on the far side of the field. And the worst thing that you could imagine happening in the last minute of a tie football game, going into halftime, that is. Long touchdown score for Marian after USF had expended all that energy to get back in the football game.
Waiting now, pending the extra point attempt coming up. Cameron Fox trying to give him a lead of 7. Looks long enough, and it is good. So just like that, it's 24-17 Marian, as they stop a run of points by USF when it was 17-3. Cougars had a run of 14 to tie it up. But now it's Marian by 7. We'll keep things right here with just 50 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and remember, Marian gets the ball coming out of the locker room. So the question now is, 50 seconds left on the clock. I expect to see USF try and get some more points here before halftime. I don't think they're going to. If it had been tied up, they might have run the clock out. But in this situation, I kind of smell a shootout in the second half. So I think you're going to need as many points as you can get. One thing that has surprised me here today, Joe, is how explosive this Marian offense has looked. I didn't expect that. I expected to see more of a grinded-out style. And I think USF maybe expected that too, and they've gotten bit 3 times.
Big plays, scoring plays for the Knights tonight. Salary running for 45 yards. Johnny Williams twice been on the receiving end of Luke Johnson touchdown tosses, 54 yards, and most recently 57. And advantage Marian here in this second annual Franciscan Bowl at 24-17. Now the kick. And where is that? End over end. Comes down near side, inside the 2. Justin Green takes a look, cuts left side to the 15-20. And run out of bounds, and there's a penalty flag thrown across the 25.
And one back at the 10. There were flags all over the place, as they say.
And I'm sure we're going to have a lengthy conversation about these with 44 seconds remaining. So, the St. Francis is going to be backed up deep. And probably right now interested in just getting to the halftime dressing room with any further damage not done against them. Trailing it after battling all the way back from 17-3 to tie it. Now down by 7. Legal block it looked like against St. Francis. And that's the one they'll assess.
So you're going to start at about the 25, go back. USF will start around the 15-yard line, I think. Inside the 15, all the way back. Oh, it's 15 from the point of the foul. So with 90 yards to go in 44 seconds, I think you're right. Sometimes surrender is the better decision in this type of situation. 44 seconds, you just want to run that clock out.
Moves the ball back to the 11. Can't make a mistake here. Ferrer, expect a handoff. No, he did that draw on the draw and gave it to Green. He's out short of the 15 to the 13-yard line with 36 seconds remaining. Don't think USF will call a timeout. They spotted at the 13. Looks like they may have to run one more. Maybe not. Play clock is at 22. Game clock at 18. We'll see if they try to run one more play before the end of intermission. It has been an up-and-down evening so far for the Cougars. Ferrer loads, throws as far as he can, looking right side, and that ball
was caught.
Is it caught? Wow.
With 2 seconds on the clock. Caught.
That was Rixey that came up with the ball.
Rixey, all the way to that ball, 47-yard gain for USF.
How about the throw on it, though? That's got to be, what, close to 60 yards?
Right on the sideline.
They spotted at the 39.
Yeah, about 60 yards in the air with the drop. And
time for one play, though.
And then USF has got another shot.
They're going to take a timeout to discuss it. And we will keep things right here. No, I tell you what, we'll take a 30-second break. And a quick one, we'll be back. This is Cougar Football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. Okay, that'll leave us 1:30 at the end of the half. And a live read. Well, Kevin Donnelly trying to draw one up. You have a 39-yard, 2-second touchdown play. I know you do. With flag football, you probably got one.
Absolutely, and Kevin Donnelly's got him too, and we've seen him do it before in this situation. And when you have such an explosive offense, why not take a shot at the offense? Ferrer's got plenty of arm from the 40-yard line to get that ball into the end zone. You just got to get a play, and so you got all 5 wide, and it's Hail Mary time.
Marian dropping 5 back in coverage, though. It will be difficult. Here's Ferrer looking, steps up, throws it as far as he can over the middle. That one's caught inside the 10 by Rixey, but he takes a hit as time runs out, and that will end the first half. So the Cougars threaten but do not score. And they will trail 24-17 after a very, very interesting 30 minutes of NAIA football here in Indianapolis.
Well, USF is going to see their yardage from the first half padded quite a bit by those last 2 plays, Joe. But for the most part, except for 2 turnovers that they were able to take advantage of, the offense has not been all it's been cracked up to be. They've shown signs late, or I should say in the second quarter, being a little bit better, but a great first half of football for the most part, dominated by the Marian Knights.
8th-ranked Knights, though, take the lead by 7, trying to upset the number 1-ranked Cougars. And at halftime, 24-17 our score. We'll tell you what, let's take a 1-minute timeout, and then we'll be back with our halftime coverage. This is Cougar Football on Redeemer Radio, WRDF 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. Welcome back, everybody, to Indianapolis with the Judge, Phil Hawk. I'm Joe Parson, and let's bring in the Judge. You were able to go down and find the Cougars huddled up somewhere down there. What did you glean?
Well, absolutely, Joe. Gosh, I missed this game and being the halftime of intense locker rooms. And it's an intense locker room right down there.
I bet.
For USF. One of the points of emphasis that I picked up on was the fact that their Cougars are very dissatisfied with the lack of pass rush that they've had. And if you think about it, that's been led to 2 of the touchdowns. Was Johnson just had all day long to throw the football, and so they've got to find a way to get a pass rush. And so that's one thing they're going to do. Confidence on the offensive side of the ball. I think they really like the way that Ferrer had dialed in, I thought, in the second quarter, and they expect more of that to continue. They feel confident that they're going to be able to score points, but the defense is going to have to find a way to get some kind of a pass rush and to stop that passing game that we were surprised to see Marian show. Giving up that last touchdown in the last minute was really a killer. Kevin Donnelly, not surprisingly, very animated about what his team needs to do in the second half of this game. And I think he had a lot of angry Cougars in that locker room with the performance in the first half. Let's see what happens on this first drive. As you said in our opening comments of this halftime performance, what happens in the first 2 minutes of this second half is going to say a lot about how this great football game is going to go the rest of the way tonight.
How about Dan Rixey, though, in that first half, and a couple of catches? He just ran out of time.
Yeah, well, Rixey, and a lot of that Cougar offense, you've got the stats, and I didn't actually look at them. Here they are in front of me, but Rixey had, some big catches. Well, that's not the one. that will do us a lot of good. But,
I've got them for you.
Like I said, Ferrer, I thought, had really dialed in that second quarter, and of course he ends up, USF with 263 yards. Ferrer, 19 of 23 passing, no turnovers. USF has no turnovers. It's just that they've given up some big plays defensively, and so if they cut back on those, they feel they're going to be all right. And a part of that has got to be they've got to find some sort of a pass rush to try and pressure Johnson when he's trying to throw the football.
Cougars ready to kick it away from right to left as we look at it. Back at Salary along with Johnny William, two capable, dangerous kick return specialists.
Just a great scene, though, in the Cougar locker room, and I kind of missed that scene. A lot of intense football coaching going on at halftime of this game.
Gardner puts the foot in the ball, comes back down inside the 5, fumbled away, picked up then at the 5. Back comes Salary, I believe, runs right side, through a couple tackles, brings it across the 20 to the 23. And that is where the Knights go to work offensively now.
So a little chill in the air here to start the second half of this football game. This is great football weather. The sun has gone down now, and we'll see what Marian does in their first drive of this second half. This is going to tell a lot about how this clash of the Titans is going to go the rest of the way.
Game started out under sunny skies, 69 degrees. Winds out of the east-northeast at 9 miles an hour. Temperature, the weatherman says, dropping to the mid to upper 50s before we leave the air. So Johnson first and 10 at the 24-yard line now. Taking a look and hands the ball. Here's a run to the right side into the second level. Salary dives across the 30. Went airborne, and they'll say the knee hit around the 32. That's a carry good for about 7, close to 8 yards.
Well, the balanced attack by Marian in that first half, and that's exactly what they wanted, and that's exactly what they got. 166 yards passing, and via the run, pretty effective too, 127 yards. So that's balance, and that's what slowed USF.
Second and short now. They run the ball again up the middle, and they've got a first down. Lee Stewart had to come across and make the stop, but again, that middle has been somewhat porous. Good blocking by the 276-pound average offensive line from tackle to tackle. McAllister the center, Borders and Button the guards, and Bush and Glaze. Out of Leo, by the way, the offensive tackles.
Hemmelgarn plugs up that middle. He usually demands double and even triple teams, and that frees up the linebackers. But so far, that has not been the case in this football game.
Now, Salary, they flip-flop him to the right side of Luke Johnston out of the shotgun formation. They want to run again up the middle and pushes the pile up across the 40 to the 41. So far, Marian sticking strictly with the running of Charles Salary, 108 Gesundheit, by the way, 185-pound sophomore.
Run the ball to set up the pass. That's the MO of the Marian offense, and now they come straight up back to the line of scrimmage, and it's a go check with me.
That carry good for 4 yards, second down and 6. And look at the enthusiasm here on the Marian sideline. The player's not in there. Here's a nice cut, but a good adjustment defensively. Salary looked like he had some running room off to the left. Does get back to about the 41, 42. Let's call it no gain with third down coming up.
Good defense on that play by USF. The tackle by Spencer Coward, outside linebacker. Bringing up third. This is a big third down play.
Got to get out to their own 48. Now they back away. Play clock is, well, they've not marked the ball ready for play, and there's going to be an early timeout called. And is that called by St. Francis? We'll find out. 12:53 remains in the third quarter. Marian with the ball leading by 7. And this is Cougar football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. Sorry.
Did Marian call that timeout? USF called it? Yeah, USF called it.
Kelly! Kelly!
I got to read.
Cougars back home next Saturday at 12 noon. They'll take on Concordia in that big ball game. Concordia started the undefeated at 4-0. Knights stay home here. They're taking on St. Ambrose next Saturday afternoon.
That was a USF call on the timeout on the big 3rd and 6 play, and here we go.
Here we go, 3rd down and long. Empty backfield now, 3 wide to the left side. Johnson, quick throw over the middle. He's got a catch, but short of the 1st down, but they've got it on 2nd effort. Tell you what, Blake Schumacher did everything he could. He wrapped up, but had one of the bigger players catching that ball, and that's a gain up to the 49 on 2nd effort.
Yeah, the value of a good run after the catch, and Marian was just able to drag just enough to get the full 6 yards they needed, and not a lot more, but that's a big conversion for Marian on their first drive of the 2nd half.
Improving field position for the Knights, nearing midfield now. Johnson wants to hand to Salary, tries to go off to the right, and gets into Cougar territory down inside the 49, close to the 48-yard line. A little bit of extracurriculars going on. Wilmer Cole got locked up again with one of the big guys that came over to say hello.
Well, and it was Cole that came up in run support and got that tackle. It was a nice job by him, but then the chippiness continues after the whistle.
Gain of 3, 2nd down and 7. Now the ball into USF territory. Got Greg Miller wide to the left side, part of a trips package out there. They flip-flop Marcus Step now, comes on a rush to the right side. Johnson looks to screen the ball, throws the ball, tipped in the air, incomplete. That almost was a Marian reception on a deflected ball down the middle by Greg Miller, but incomplete.
Yeah, good coverage up the field. Johnson was under some pressure on that play. USF needs to get a sack is what they really need, but a little pressure, and that may have been just enough to create another big 3rd and long.
Got to get to the USF 41. Cougars with some deception now on their coverages. And again, they were coming on a zone blitz off to the right side, but they back away with 12 on the play clock. Johnson checks the sidelines. Now under center just for a moment and backs up. Ready to take the snap. Play clock is at 4, at 3. And now he wants to throw. Time in the pocket. Throws over the middle. And that's a high ball, incomplete. No harm, no foul, so we'll bring up 4th down, and Marian plays field position now, leading at 24-17, but they'll have to punt the ball away.
Well, Marian will have the opportunity to improve their field position on the punt that'll come from midfield. That's the good news for him, but also the good news for USF. And USF gets a turnover on downs, hopefully. That there's no fake in this position. You never know when you're up near midfield what's going to happen there.
Looks like Nate Carson is back deep in punt return, waiting around the 10. Here's the kick away, and that'll be fielded on the fly. It's actually Boswell. Turns the corner, works the 15, 20-yard line, speeds his way, turns the corner up the sideline, still on his feet to midfield, and out of bounds into Marian territory unless he stepped out of bounds earlier.
Well, no matter where they mark that ball, it's going to end up with good field position for USF. Unless,
looks like a penalty flag.
They're
back
up
at the 14-yard line.
14-yard line, flag down, so that's right at the point of attack, right about where Boswell fielded that football. So forget about that. Maybe it was the some block in the back or something that sprung Boswell.
That'll be half the distance back to the goal on the walk-off.
Yeah, that one hurts. No question about that. Boswell, one of the guys at halftime, I'll tell you, looked at, I don't think he was looking at me, but he happened to turn his head and look and says, we're going to win this game. And then he repeated that, we're going to win this game.
Penalty's going to move the ball inside the Cougar 10, somewhere around the 8-yard line or maybe the 7. Boy, what a difference, though. USF is going to have the ball around the 45 of Marian. Now instead it'll be Ferrer taking the snap right about the 1. Running back Green offset in the end zone now. They hand the ball to him. Has a bit of a hole. Darts to the 10. Turns the corner. 15. Out around the 20, 21-yard line.
Well, that gives you the breathing room that you need. 10 yards on first down. USF now will punch that out to about the 20-21, and the chains do move. That's the good news for USF. Good to see Justin Harris with some good yardage on first down.
Zach Gegner checks in. He's up on the wing to the left side. Two wide to the right. That's the wide side of the field now. Ferrer out of the shotgun, drops to throw. Looks, throws the home run ball, looking for Rocky James, and there was, well, take your pick. There was pushing both ways, but official decides to eat the flag. There's not going to be a penalty either way.
Yeah, not surprisingly, considering the ball was 10 yards over anybody's head. Not sure what that was all about. As accurate as Ferrer was looking in the second quarter of this football game, that may have been intentional, that he wasn't going to give anybody the opportunity to catch the football on his first pass of the second half.
Second down and 10 with the ball at the USF 21-yard line. They trail it by 7. Early moments of the second half, Marian scored right before halftime to break a 17-all tie. Green darting his way and brings it out to the 25-yard line. That'll bring up a third down call, needing a 6 for St. Francis on this Nick snap.
Offensive line starting, I think, Joe, to assert a little bit of their abilities, opening some holes for USF. Green finding some running lanes.
Boswell, Rixey, they spread out wide to the right side. Rixey's had just one of those nights. Did not play last week after 4 touchdown catches the week prior. Big play coming up. Ferrer looks to throw, is being pursued, throws over the middle. He's got Rocky James, spins up, trying to fight his way to the 40-yard line, and he does. He carries a tackler with him up here, so a good play as Jerron Clark had the coverage. Now there is a penalty flag we're hearing. I don't see that, Phil.
I don't see it either. Rocky James always makes it interesting, Joe, after the catch, doesn't he?
Always keeps the feet moving.
Yeah.
Apparently no penalty flag,
No.
or if it was declined. Proving field position now for the Cougars up around their own 40-yard line. 1st and 10, trailing it by 7. Ferrer takes a look. Play clock at 10. They take the snap, short drop. Looks, now rolls flush to his right side. Throws on the run and threw it away, and that you like to see.
Well, we got our wish on that one after not seeing that in the first half. Ferrer spins out of the pocket and rolls a little bit and throws the ball away.
Apparently there was a penalty that play, though.
Probably going to be hold in that situation. That's exactly the call. Hold on USF. That's going to be a big march off. USF had advanced all the way to the 40-yard line, starting at their own 11.
They'll take it back to the 30. It's going to remain first down, but 1st and 20. I'm not so sure if I'm Mark Henniger, I might have not taken the play. You know, that's always a tough call. But when you got a guy like Ferrer, who is averaging over 350 yards a game, number 1 in the Mid-States, maybe you have to give a little more thought to that. 3 wide to the left side now, Ferrer. Trying to get some of that yardage back, runs the ball. Here's a good run, little stop and go move across the 40. Let's see if that's Green in there. He's done all the ball carrying so far tonight, brings it up to the 44-yard line. And it was Justin Green. So you get 15 back on that run. And they'll mark it actually at the 44, so it'll be 2nd down and 6 coming up.
Justin Green had some nice carries already in this second half. He had 37 net yards in the first half on 16 carries.
Phil, you talked about it earlier. I know that was an objective, trying to get him established with the ground game. Just 37 yards in the first half, but add 15 more at least after that last carry. Here's now a screen coming near side. Boswell runs up close to the first down, just short of midfield. It's good to pin on the spot. Looks like he's about a half a yard short, with a 3rd down call coming up at just short of midfield.
So you may have been right when you said maybe you should have declined that penalty, because you give 3 plays to no matter where you're at.
Cougars playing fast now. Here's Ferrer looking, hands to Green, looks, bounces it off and nudges forward into a yard deep into Marian territory.
I think that's going to be good for a 1st down yardage. So
wasn't much available there for Justin Green. He started, wanted to go left, wasn't there, and just lowered his shoulder and plunged ahead for a yard.
Yeah, this has been a nice drive by USF, something they capitalized on 2 turnovers in the first half and had short fields in both cases. This drive started at their own 11, and now they've advanced into Marian territory.
And as much as anything, keeping that talented, potent offense of Marian on the sidelines. Ferrer out of the pistol, spins, looks, steps up, looks and got the pass away, and it's grabbed by Rixey at the 30. Works to his right, gets another 5 yards, and there's a penalty flag. Did they get the face mask?
That's got to be a face mask tacked onto the end of that play. Another personal foul, big one. You know, oh, gee. You know, flags are still coming out, Joe. But I think these are all going to work in the Cougars' favor.
Referee is Tom Burns.
Seam route by Rixey. Rixey, you know, seemingly away, just wide open, it looks like, down the field. And
ball is a little high, too. 5'10" sophomore Rixey went up and got it.
Ferrer does a nice job. He steps up in the pocket. You know, he bought himself some time, and Rixey found the seam.
It is personal foul, face mask against Marian.
So we're going to tack more yards on the end of that. Cougars are going to be deep into the red zone now with first down, 7:59 on the clock. They trail by just 7 points after an up and down first half.
Looks like that ball's around the 12.
Yeah.
Now they're going to mark it at
13.
Officially at the 13. First and 10. USF in the red zone and knocking on the door, trying to tie the game up. Ferrer barking out the signals, waiting for that snap. He's got it, hands the ball. There's Green, and can't find much. Runs into 3-4 of the dark-shirted Marian Knights. Maybe will do well to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage on that delay. The quick hitting plays, Joe, seem to have worked a little bit better against this tough physical defense that Marian brings to bear. Those slow developing plays, not as much success there.
Call it second down and 11. This time Gagner comes up in the slot to the right side. That's the short side. 2 wide either side for Ferrer. Holds his palms high. Ready to take the snap now. Looks on the read option. Gives to Green. Green angles to his left. Brings it inside the 10. Down to about the 6-yard line. Justin Green running hard.
Yeah, Justin Green that time just takes off like a shot off the near side, left side in a zone play.
Third down and 4, obviously 4 down yardage area. Cougars can pick up the first down without scoring.
Boy, you really want 7 points gets you into a tie in this game. Field goal, not so much.
Ball is marked closer to the 7-yard line. Carson checks in wide right. Motion by Boswell back to the left. Here's a play action fake and a throw to the corner.
Beautiful.
Over the shoulder catch for a touchdown. And is that Sean Boswell? Believe it is.
Boswell.
6 yards officially at the 6:15 mark. And the Cougars battle back and need a conversion to tie again.
Boy, a beautiful drive by the Cougars. That drive took about just under 6 minutes. And looks like about 12 plays, most of them passes, a few good runs. Justin Green and the Cougars are 1 conversion point here away from tying this up. The Cougars have never led in this football game. This would be the 2nd tie of the game after the beginning.
Here's Gardner trying to tie the game on the way. It is good, and a new game again here in Indianapolis. 24-24 tie as USF battles back against the 8th-ranked Marian Knights. And we'll step out. Cougar Football and Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana.
How many yards, Joe? How many yards that was, Joe?
Back in Indianapolis with the judge, Phil Houck, and you like the play calling concept as well. The influence was to the right, but Boswell coming back on motion, ranked the left, and won the foot race into the corner of the end zone and made that over-the-shoulder catch.
Yeah, Ferrer was just thrown to a spot on that. I mean, you didn't even have to look to see where his receiver was. He knew where he was supposed to be, and that's all he did was throw that ball to the corner. And Boswell continues to make key plays and big plays against Marian. Ferrer now with 3 touchdowns on the night, and as we mentioned earlier, the 31st consecutive game where he has more than 2 touchdown passes in a game. That is an unreal number.
Armstrong and William go back in kick return. 6:15 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Get a feeling this one's going down to the wire.
It just might do that. I think we may have a good football game here on our hands.
Here comes the kick, end over end. William looking to call for it. There's a battle for it, and it's taken across the 20-yard line. Turning the corner. That's William upended, went airborne across the 25 up to about the 27, 28-yard line, and the Knights offense checks back into the ball game.
Vito Tapia on the tackle, strong safety, 5'11", 192 out of Warren Central. He's down on the coverage and gets the tackle. So USF still looking for pressure on the quarterback. That's a key. But on the last drive, they were able to bottle up the Marian defense pretty good. That was the first drive of the second half.
And Phil, where is Johnny William? You got to be aware of him as Johnson looks to hand the ball off. And here's a run to the left side. That is Woodard, who's back in there. Maurice Woodard, the 6'1", 205-pound junior running back. Angles to his left and gets maybe only about a yard.
You just kind of feel like there's some confidence now on the offensive side of the ball for USF. Well, I think that confidence will filter over to the defensive side if they can get another stop here like they did on the first drive of the second half.
Second down and 9 from the 29. They work from the left side hash mark now. Johnson sets up out of the shotgun again. Looking, a hands-on sweep coming right side. Coward trying to prevent the turn for the corner. As across the 30, the gain is going to be up to about the 32. And here we go with a third down call for the Knights. They need at least about 6, trying to get out to their own 38-yard line on this snap.
Coward doing a nice job of stringing that play out, Joe. As you mentioned, 2-3 blockers trying to push him out of the play, but he refused to let that happen. Strung it out enough so that it goes for a short gain.
James Jamesich in defensive end. What a game he had against SXU with 3 sacks, 3 of the school record 8. They could use one now as Johnson has the ball. Short drop, looks, throws short. That one, nobody home. Ball carrier, then intended receiver fell down. That was Greg Miller, I believe, and it's 3 and out. For Marian, they'll have to punt the ball away.
Yeah, Miller was laying on his back up there at the 40-yard line.
How did that happen?
I don't know. Okay, there's a little contact going on down on that field. Although, you know, we have seen this field look a little slippery. We've seen a few slips. I don't know.
It is a new surface, they told me.
It's a beautiful surface, but it is new, and those fields do tend to be a little more slippery when they are new.
Cougars with 9 men up on the line of scrimmage on this punt forthcoming. They've got Boswell and Nate Carson back in punt return, high snap. Wow, wouldn't that have been something? On the fly, here's Carson over, has the ball at the 32, but tries to run nowhere as he's brought down in his tracks. Nonetheless, St. Francis, they'll have the ball. They scored the last time. They possessed the football to tie the game, and now they're trying to take their first lead of the night.
Logan Marsh, a freshman linebacker, back there on coverage for Marian. All right, the defense though with 2 pretty good stands to start off this second half, and the offense with a 90-yard drive on their first drive of the second half. Momentum with the Cougars, but we got a tie football game, 4:38 of the third quarter.
Well, a night that's made perfect for college football here in Indianapolis. Still in the low 60s, perhaps upper 50s. Pump fake and throw left side for Rocky James.
Oh.
Did he have the ball? He's got it. Rocky James took it away from Jerron Clark, and the Cougars will have it down into Marian territory at about the, 37, 38-yard line.
Dropped.
How did he catch that ball?
Dropped it. Well, it was because Farrar dropped the ball on a dime. He caught it because he's a pretty decent receiver, but he had the benefit of a beautiful pass that was dropped in the only position on the field where it probably could have been caught.
Phil, you know you've got to make plays against Marian, a talented team, and the Cougars are doing that. Now they've got 3 wide to the right, including Duke Blackwell, who's checked in. Ferrer, will he give it to Green? He does. Runs up the middle and breaks away to the right side and fights his way inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. And Justin Green with a head of steam up.
Okay, right now Justin Green looks like he's starting to get his, he's starting to wear a little bit on that Marian defense. And we're going to have a timeout.
We've got a man down. Is that one of the Knights? I believe it is across the way. So with 3:50 remaining in the third quarter, 24-24 tie. USF has got the football when we return. Cougar football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana.
Joe, did you say you did this fourth read?
I did.
Okay. So in the fourth quarter, I just got one to do.
Yeah, we just running 130.
I can't get a number.
With the judge Phil Hawk, I'm Joe Parson. As we try to get the glasses on the far side of the field with the injured Marian Knight.
I got it. It's number
30.
Austin Gintner.
Yeah, one of the linebackers.
Sophomore linebacker.
Who, by the way, had 8 tackles and a half tackle for loss against Olivet Nazarene last week. But he's walking basically off the field under his own power, kind of a
little gingerly.
Yeah, a little gingerly is a good way to put it.
So another injury timeout. But USF really in business. I was starting to develop the thought that I think Justin Green is starting to wear a little bit and play well and gain some yards offensively. And if they can do that, that really opens up everything. You're not going to stop that passing game if they've got to respect the run game.
From the 34 of Marian, that's where USF has the football. 2nd down and 6. Cornerback comes in for press coverage as here's a play that goes to the right. That'll be short of the first down. And there's a late penalty flag thrown again. High into the air well after the play was over. So what is that going to be about? Well, you talked about it earlier. I don't know, was anything said at halftime about controlling your emotions and play whistle to whistle only?
Kevin Donnelly's favorite, and he's been saying this for 20 years as long as I've known him, and that's you play snap to whistle. And of course he made that emphasis at halftime. He says we got to quit making. If we don't make mistakes, this game will go to the team that makes the fewest mistakes.
Personal foul against Marian.
And Marian's made a few mistakes in this game. USF has not turned the football over in this game. That's a key consideration.
Well, they did have the winning interception that was disallowed. Now it'll be 1st down.
Disallowed because of the interference.
Correct. That's a good reason.
Which was a mistake.
Good reason. At the 17 is where St. Francis sets up. Andreas Espino-Gomez checks in wide to the right, the short side of the field. 2 wide to the left, including Nate Carson. Offset to the left is Green. Green looking to take the handle and just rolls up the middle. Fights his way down close to the 11-yard line. Justin Green running with a purpose.
And he gets his body so low in that situation that they can't even see him, I don't think. And he just squirted through a little seam. Nice job. USF now deep into the red zone, looking for the first time today to take a lead in this football game.
Gain of 6, 2nd down and 4. Now the Cougars go in their goal line offense with just 2 wide to the short side to the right. You have a wing back here up on the left side. Motion back right to left behind the line of scrimmage. Counter run Green. Green steps out of a tackle looking for running room. Doesn't find much. Gets inside the 10. Boy, there was some late contact coming in there. But don't see a penalty flag, and it'll bring up 3rd down call coming up.
Green so effortlessly changes direction, and then will change directions again 1 step later. And that's been a great way of making defenders miss when they're trying to hit you.
They're going to spot that ball right at the Marian 10. So it's 3rd down and a long 3. Just over 2 minutes remain in the quarter. 24-24 tie. 2 wide to the left side, including Espino-Gomez out here. Here's Ferrer barking at the signals. Looks to throw. Gives ground. The blitz is coming. Throws the ball. Completes in the middle of the field. But that's Rocky James. Gave ground back outside the 10. So it'll bring up 4th down. And now let's see.
It's going to be marked just about a half yard short. Well, let's see where they mark it. He did run. He ran exactly the wrong way after the catch. That's for sure. So it's going to be
4th and 2 coming up.
And in comes the field goal unit.
Trying to give Gavin Gardner a chance to give St. Francis its first lead of the night. Another place, another night, they'd go for it on 4th down. But Coach D thinking, by the way, play clock is down to 2, and they're going to, did they call the timeout? Or did the
flag came out?
That's about the third time tonight, the delay of game.
Well,
they did call a timeout, so it saved the penalty of 5 yards.
Saved the penalty, but you don't want to give up timeouts like that in a close game.
Takes the clock down to 1:02. We'll keep things right here.
Would Kevin Donnelly think about changing his mind here? He's got about 1.5 yards to go for a first down.
Yeah, if you look at that,
is it a little longer?
Stick, a little over 2 yards.
I don't know. I think it's 1 5/8. But it's not a lot of yards for this powerful offense. And your defense has played well in the second half. But I suppose you got to go for the lead, and this is still a very makeable field goal.
It has been an uphill battle all night long. Cougars fell behind 14-0, then 17-3. Got into a 17-all tie, but right before halftime fell behind 24-17. And now the Ferrer to Boswell touchdown pass of 6 yards has tied this ball game up with Gavin Gardner on. He will attempt, let's see, that'll be about a 26, 27-yard field goal attempt from the left side hash mark for the lead. Let's call it 26 yards with 1:02 remaining on the clock. Waiting for the snap. 27-yarder on the way. That's partially blocked, and that will end that. So Marian's defense stands tall. Don't know if they really got a hand on it or if it was just a muff. But missed field goal of 27 yards. And we remain tied at 24-all.
So the long drive by USF from their own 30 all the way down to the 11-yard results in 0 points. And it looks like we're knocking on the door of the fourth quarter with a tie football game, Joe. And, they're going to have fireworks after the game. I think you're going to see some fireworks in the fourth quarter here tonight. This is a great football game.
Well, if you're Mark Henniger, you are looking to get the ball somehow in the hands of Johnny William. He's up in the slot to the right side. And the Cougars got to defend against him, but they'll run the ball in this first snap, and USF sees a gain across the 20 out to about the 22-yard line. Charles Salary getting back into the ball game as the running back. Picks up a couple. Now every possession, every snap, we're down to 36 seconds remaining in the quarter. Lee Stewart and Blake Schumacher in coverage too, but they come up within about 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. Johnson now backs up out of the shotgun formation. 2 protectors in either side. Here's Johnson, looks, now being spun around. They've got him for the first sack of the night.
And who else? Marcus Stepp. Marcus Stepp, who, as you said, seems to be playing with a little extra motivation tonight, and that is a big play. First sack of the night for the Cougars, and that's what all they talked about at halftime is we got to get pressure on the quarterback.
That will do it. That will end the third quarter. So nothing decided. Marian unable to capitalize on that early 2-touchdown lead, but we're 24-24 apiece headed to the final 15 minutes, or are we? Are we headed to OT? We'll take a 1-minute timeout. This is Cougar Football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. 1 minute, 1 minute. I'm not sure where we're at. Is this Odyssey? Okay, that's good.
And I got one read.
We'll pick them up.
Thank you.
Cougars get the only touchdown of this third quarter, but it was a big one to tie it up. But come away with no points most recently. Now it's 3rd down and 14 after that sack by Marcus Stepp. Johnson looks, gives ground, wants to throw, looks, loads, fires to the right's got a catch. It'll depend on the spot. Looks like he's short by a yard. And now what do you do for Mark Henniger when you're back inside your 30-yard line?
I don't think you mess with this play. I mean, Henniger may be more of a gambler than I am, but I don't think so. He's bringing the punt team out. 4th and very short, but deep in your own territory. You do not want to give the Cougars great field position.
And you always want to be aware of a direct snap, a short snap.
Yeah, look for
Remember Pearson Harnish a couple of weeks ago in North Dakota.
Boy, but if you don't convert that play, you can. That's a career changer.
Luke Frayne back waiting for the snap of the 15. They do get it to him. Kick is away. Got a good one. Backpedaling over the shoulder. It takes a high bounce. And the Cougars just, and it continues to roll inside the 15-yard line down to about the 10. Frayne got it all. 1st and 10 USF at the Cougar 11, so they've got to go 89 yards. Now with 14:03 remaining in this football game.
About 64 yards, Joe. It's not a bad punt in a critical situation. It was just went so deep that the Cougars could not backpedal enough to try and field the ball. They could have fielded it up near the 20, but were not able to do that, and they got a valuable roll, a favorable roll for Marian. So USF now with a long field to go. 14:03 on the clock. We got a tie football game.
And we'll watch the coverage now here on the near side. Dan Rixey's had quite a night. They come up and press coverage on him. In fact, double coverage. And here is a Ferrer looking to throw, and he's under pressure in the end zone. Got rid of it. Throws, completes. Out here around the 20-yard line, Rixey bailed him out, and Ferrer escaping, barely able to throw the ball, and got away with a completion.
Boy, that's a terrific job by Ferrer to get rid of that and to show the poise when he's in his own end zone and scrambling for his life to find that receiver and throw a dart right to him.
Call it a gain of 8. 2nd down and short 2 coming up. But that saved the safety as well. Now, let's see, Ferrer ready to take the snap. Got a blocker off to the right side. The give is to Green. Angles, he's on the 2nd level. Crossed the 25 and up to the 29-yard line. And running hard, Justin Green picks up the 1st down.
Joe, through 3 quarters, USF with 396 total yards, 66 yards rushing, 330 passing. So they haven't achieved the balance that they're looking for. There's no doubt about that.
We'll look at Green's numbers now. Yeah. 37 at halftime, and he's really added to that total.
Total of 88. Ferrer has lost some yardage, and that certainly made that number look smaller.
And Green goes over 90 yards now on that last carry. 1st down and 10. They go to Green again. Off tackle, looking and runs through a tackle, trying to reverse back. Still on his feet to the 35-yard line. Play starts on off tackle to the left. Green recognizes, steps out of a tackle, breaks one, and cuts right.
Well, the running backs coach, Doug Coate, told me at the media luncheon on Thursday, said if Green goes for 100 yards, we'll be fine. Well, I think he's at about 98 right now.
Picks up 7, 2nd down and 3.
I don't know if I'm going to feel fine anytime soon. I think I've got about 12 and a half minutes before that's going to happen for the Cougars in this tight ball game. But
especially in a 24-24 time.
Right,
not like you're trying to protect the lead. Gegner up on the wing to the left side, 2 wide to the right. Ferrer waiting for the snap, goes to Green again, straight ahead, and just pushes everybody up across the 40 to the 41. They'll move the chains again. This is smash mouth football, and we've got a Knight again slow getting up. And let's see.
That was Sonater who carried that ball, Joe.
Oh, Ryan Sonater has been a little bit nicked up in last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think that's the only other running back to get a carry tonight for USF.
Eli Wallace available, but so far not used. 1st and 10, 11:43 remaining. Cougars would love to have about a 9-10 minute drive. Here is Ferrer, long time in the pocket, throws left and has got to catch Rocky Green, caught right in his footsteps. They'll mark him down at the USF 49. That's short of the 1st down by about 1.5 yards.
USF seems to you just sense they're playing with some confidence out there on that field right now. They have certainly, there's no reason why Marian wouldn't been relying on similar experiences, but USF, the defending national champions, tie ball game. They got the ball. They feel they're in control with 11:06 on the clock.
Derek Short now checks in at one of the cornerback spots, far side. Cougars take out Rocky James and Rixey as they'll run the ball. Sonata running and running hard, and that's the way he ran at Bishop Winger, didn't he?
Yes, he did, and that's a nice carry. Change of pace, definitely a different different kind of runner than Green. Green, who will change directions gracefully on a dime. Sonata just pumps those legs really hard, just kind of short, choppy steps, but carries the ball north-south very effectively, runs very hard.
Came in with 23 carries, averaging about 4.5 yards a carry, has run for a touchdown, and brings it to the Marian 42-yard line with just 10.5 minutes remaining in this 24-24 tie. Ferrer, again, will he throw, will he run? He'll hand it off, and a straight-ahead carry once again inside the Marian 40 to the 39. Are they going to move it back to the 40?
Flag down at about the 44-yard line, right in the middle of that play.
And that probably will go against St. Francis, you would expect.
Big conference going on at
Tom
the
Burns.
40-yard line. Tom Burns is one of those consensus guys.
What does that call? It's against St. Francis. What, hands to the face, maybe?
That's some illegal touching of some sort, exactly. And that's a big penalty.
They have not yet marked off the yardage.
Yeah, coming way back.
They'll take it back now to the 45 of St. Francis.
So it's going to bring up 2nd and 23, Joe. No, 1st and 23 because there's no loss of down. Well, now it goes back to 2nd and 23 on the clock. And now it's back to 1st and 23. I think 1st and 23 would be correct.
They haven't changed the down marker yet, but I believe it is, you're right, 1st and 23.
Well, maybe not.
Well, they keep changing it. We don't know. There was movement at the line of scrimmage. Ferrer looking, throws to the left. He's got a catch, falling down, though, to get the penalty yardage back. That was Chrisman who made the sliding catch at the Marian 42. So it'll bring up 3rd down and still about 11.
Chrisman, if he could have kept his feet, obviously an opportunity to run after that catch.
Little evening dew down there. You talked about it being slippery as the evening wears on.
I think that's it. Field turf.
Nothing else. Trying to play field position.
Big play.
There we go. Cougars trying to reach the 32 on this snap. Crowd coming alive here at St. Vincent Field in Indianapolis. 2 wide to the right. And Ferrer drops, looks, throws to the left's got a man. The catch is made. If they hold on, it's a 1st down inside the 30. And the Cougars on the sidelines jumping up and down. They think they've got the 1st down.
That was Rocky James again, up near about the 29, and the chains are moving. What a great pattern, great pitch and catch. Yeah, these guys are special out here, this passing game.
Taking what the Marian defense gives them, and Ferrer on the money. The top efficiency quarterback in the Mid-States Football Association. 1st down and 10 from the 31 of the Knights. From the left side hash mark, they'll run the ball. Here is Green picking his way, stumbles and falls inside the 20, got it to about the 17. Boy, if he could have kept his feet, he had some green in front of him.
Well, this drive now, it started at USF 11, has advanced all the way to the 28 on 9 plays, and Cougars have burned just over 5 minutes off the clock.
Green picks up 3 on that last carry, 2nd down and 7. They'll stay with 2 wide to the right for Ferrer out of the pistol. Looking read option, hands the ball off, and there's a run, and there's Green inside the 20, rumbles down to about the 18. What a big second half for Justin Green.
Yeah, he's up in the 120, 125 yard area now. So, and as that running game has taken control, it's pick your poison for the Marian defense right now. What are you going to try and stop? Because Ferrer is in a zone right now with their passing game.
From the 18-yard line, the Cougars work with 1st and 10. Green now lined up behind Ferrer. Here's Nick out of the pistol, and the stretch handoff cut back by Green is stopped inside the 17, got maybe close to the 16.
Joe, a tremendous push by the Cougar offensive line right now. on that play, I'm confident that either you or I had carried the football, we were going to gain 2 yards.
Looks like there was another penalty.
Well, maybe that's why they got such a tremendous push.
Holding against St. Francis. So that'll push them back again.
Second big penalty on this drive.
Walk off outside the 25. We'll take the ball to the 28-yard line. So it will remain first down. First and 20 from the 28-yard line for St. Francis. Well, any points on the board look good. Cougars attempted a field goal from 27 yards out earlier. It was blocked, partially blocked. Here's Ferrer. Dials up, throws. He's got a catch. That's Rocky James. Cuts inside the 20 to the 15 and then wrestled out of bounds. Somewhere inside the 11-yard line. They put it down at the 10, and it will be second down and about 3.
Rocky James catches that ball coming back to the middle of the field and turns on a dime and goes back against the grain, and so that's the key to his run after the catch, where he tacks another 8 yards on to the catch.
I believe that ball is closer back to the 12, but we'll see. It is second down and short at the 7-minute mark. Time remaining in this 24-all tie. Here's Green, cuts to the right side in a foot race, trying to score, dives for the end zone. Let's see if he got in. Touchdown! Rocky James unofficially from 12 yards out, and St. Francis has got its first lead of the night at the 6:50 mark of time remaining in this football game.
Well, just a great drive by USF. 89 yards, Joe, and they, that's not to mention the 7 minutes that they were able to burn off the clock. That's big in a close football game. So USF takes their first lead of the football game at the 6:50 mark of the fourth quarter.
Now Gardner on for the all-important extra point. Blitz is coming. The kick is booming up and long and good. So St. Francis down at one point, 2 touchdowns a couple of times, and now for the first lead of the night at 31-24 with a stoppage down below. This is Cougar Football and Redeemer Radio, 106.3 Northeast Indiana.
I got to do this read. Try to do the read when we get back.
Just a 30. Well, remember 2 years ago was St. Francis has staged that miraculous 20-0 rally in the fourth quarter to steal a victory here, 45-42. And Phil, they've done all the scoring so far in the second half.
Yeah, they've been dialed in really in the second half, defensively and offensively. But they haven't scored a lot of points, but they've scored enough to finally take their first lead of the game. H&L Electric is your full-service electrical contractor from commercial and industrial to residential. H&L can handle the smallest to the largest of projects for your business or residence. And the Cougars looking to continue that good defensive dominance they've shown for most of the second half.
Armstrong and William are back deep inside the Marian 5. Here comes the kick. Driving end over end and into the end zone. It'll be run out. Across the 5 to the 10, 15, and out to about the 24, 25-yard line. So Marian ready to go to work offensively now. Penalty flags come in with 6:44 to play here in regulation. Let's see about the penalty. Will it improve the field position of the Knights?
Joe, after 3 quarters, USF had 7 penalties, 62 yards. Marian 8 penalties for 96, but we've seen 4 or 5 more penalties here already in the fourth quarter.
Tom Burns again with 5 of his crew, and the conversation continues.
Whatever this is going to be is critical, obviously, because field position is important to Marian in a close ball game. USF up by 7 points, just 6 minutes and 44 seconds left in this ball game.
Still do not have a decision, an indication about the penalty. Wow. We'll find out now.
Very deliberate.
Holding against Marian.
Yeah.
Holding number 13.
Dead ball foul.
Personal foul.
And
Also,
against Marian. Wow.
Personal foul.
can you say double jeopardy?
They're walking the ball off inside the 20 back to the.
You know, just with that penalty alone, Marian well over 100 yards in penalties in this game, and that's huge. I mean, that's just monstrous.
They're still walking back inside the 10
I mean, do you go
to the about the 8-yard line.
you go half the distance and you go half the distance again, I think, because it's a dead ball foul. So
That's right.
you do have 2 penalties on that. Usually you only have 1, but yeah.
So the Knights have got to move 92 yards, and they've got 6:44 on the clock to do it.
Boy, if USF can come up with another stop, and they've been pretty consistent in this second half, that would be huge towards a victory in this big football game.
And if you're with the Knights, you've got to be very, very careful now. You have a running back, and they're back inside the 5. They'll run the ball and running it off to the right. That's Woodard, I believe, crossed out across the 10.
Trying to get them out of the shadow of their goalpost. But that works to USF's advantage, because let that clock run, USF says.
Gain of about 4. Good run by Woodard in there, the 6'1", 205-pound junior running back. Second down, let's call it 6 coming up. Trying to reach their 19. Now they bring Greg Miller back in off the bench. Knights working from right to left from the right side hash mark. Johnson out of the shotgun formation. Luke Johnson looks to hand it off again. There's Woodard, finds running room, and he's got the first down across the 20 to the 21. Just waited for the blocking schemes to develop. And here comes Marian now, 1st and 10. Exactly 6 minutes, time remaining. Cougars by 7, fighting their way back from down as many as 2 touchdowns twice. Johnson's got 2 wide to the left. Wilmer Cole's got the coverage out here on the near side from his cornerback slot. Johnson repeatedly leaning into his center. Now takes the snap, wants to hand it off. Woodard sweeping to the right. Gets turned to the corner. Good run as he's up across the 35. Is USF unable to contain the defensive left side.
So now you see Marian really with the best series of plays that I think they put together in the second half of this football game. 3 straight plays, 2 first downs.
They've got it 1st and 10 at their own 33-yard line. Improving field position for Luke Johnson.
Yeah, started at their own 9.
Low snap gives, and now he wants to throw the ball, and a diving catch. Yes, up or across the 45 to the 47-yard line.
I think he picked that up off the turf. So nice play by Johnson, and he hits his big tight end, Miller, over the middle. And Marian now up near midfield after starting at their own 9.
Got it just across the 45, 1st and 10, basically middle of the field for Luke Johnson. Looks again, read option, and they want to run. And here is Woodard working across midfield, a yard deep into St. Francis territory. Boy, Spencer Coward is fired up, talking to the linesman, saying that he thought he was
held.
There was an infraction. Didn't get it. So now with 4:35 remaining, that last play nets 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5 for the Knights.
USF maintaining a 7-point lead in this football game.
Need a stop. Coverage 2. Lee Stewart is back along with Blake Schumacher. Johnson again leaning in, now back out of the shotgun. Read option, hands the ball off, and there's a big run up the middle. Again inside the Cougar 40 to the 39. And Maurice Woodard. Some big runs here this series. Picks up yet another 1st down for the Knights.
USF back to looking a little bit like they did in the first quarter of this football game, Joe, when they were just getting gashed, and that's what's happening right now.
William up on the slot to the right side. You don't want to forget about him. He can tie this game up in a heartbeat. Low snap on a sweep coming to the left side, and here is a second effort as the Cougars had a shot at him. That was Eric Dunton that went low and couldn't find the legs. So Woodard gains 3, 2nd down and 7.
Clock becoming quite a factor now, ticking down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Field goal does you no good here.
Knights need a score, need a touchdown. They've got it at the USF 36 after a gain of 3. A little motion now, and now whistles blow, and there's a penalty flag thrown. Does that go against Marian? We'll find out here in a moment from Tom. Yep. It is procedure, the call against the Knights.
That's key.
That'll back him up. It'll bring up second down and longer, second about 12.
So the penalty, the clock stopped at 3:16.
Ball is back outside the USF 41-yard line now. Cougars have had one sack tonight. They'd love to get another. Now they've got wing back off the left side. Dropping and throw. Johnson being pressured. Steps up. Throws over the middle and missed a wide open receiver. I believe that was Woodard coming out of the back. No, it was Charles Sallery.
Well, and there you see a stark comparison between Johnson and Ferrer. I can guarantee you Ferrer would have hit that shot.
Third down coming up for the Knights.
In a critical situation, overthrew an open receiver that would have put them in great position on third down.
Clock down to 3:11, and obviously, even if they fail on this third down, they've got to go for it. Trying to reach at least inside the Cougar 30.
Yeah, 3rd and 12, they've got 2 plays from the 41.
Johnson again barking out the signals from the left side hash mark. Low snap, screens the ball. Here's a low snap, it's caught, but the knees, Greg Miller, they're going to roll it, catch. What happened after the play? I was looking down at my score sheet.
Well, he got up and started running. I don't think a whistle was blown, but he was obviously down, and the linesman's going to mark the ball where he was down.
Wilmer Cole.
But the fans calling for I understand why they're calling for a late hit.
But if you have no whistle.
Yeah, I didn't hear a whistle, so.
What do we say? You play whistle to whistle. It's 4th down. And still 12.
No gain on that play, even with
ball
completion.
Ball game right now. Motion, there was, let's see, free play. Here's a throw to the right side. They got a man out there, and the catch is, no. The whistle's blew, so no play.
No, they're going to call, offsides.
We will see what's going on.
They're going to call offsides.
There was motion both ways, so let's see what's going on here. It will, even if it's a 5-yard offsides encroachment, it'll still be 4th down coming up. It is a walk-off against St. Francis. That'll take the ball down to the 36-yard line.
That's a big call.
Still same situation though. 4th down. They've got to reach the 29 on this snap. Ball game on the line with 2:34 remaining. Johnson ready for the snap. Now walks away. Play clock at 15. Checks the sideline. They want to check that St. Francis defense. Sallery now moves up. And he will be flanked to the right. Play clock at 5 and 4 and 3. And Johnson takes the snap, looks, dances, flush to his left, wants to run, throws on the run to the corner of the end zone. Man out there, and the ball is dropped in the end zone. No good. The ball would have tied it.
Joey, he had Miller open in the corner of the end zone, but the ball was delivered just a little short, and the ball fell to the turf at USF. Now in a position to win this football game. 2:26 on the clock. They have a 7-point lead. They will take the ball over at their own 36-yard line.
Now you don't need points. You need first downs. You need the clock as an ally. But still a long way to go in this one. And you know that Marian will be trying to strip that ball away.
And Marian's got all 3 of their timeouts left. USF has 1 timeout left. Not that they're going to be interested in using that. But USF needs to string at least a first down or 2 together here if they're going to run this clock out.
So Ferrer brings the Cougar offense onto the field. They'll look to Green. Green trying to step out of a tackle, gets back about to the line of scrimmage. That is it. Game clock continues to run. Marian has 3 timeouts, electing not to use
surprisingly
any of the 3 here.
I think I'd call it right there.
And Ferrer, he just saunters over. He's in no hurry. Play clock still with 21 seconds
Well, they could run this
showing
all the way down to a minute 45.
Cougars do huddle up now. They come up to the line of scrimmage. Rocky James split wide to the left. Rixey wide right. Corner comes in on press coverage now across the board. They run Green. Green lowers the shoulder, brings it out short of the 40 to the 39. And I got to believe that Marian will take the first of their 3 timeouts remaining. 97 seconds remain, 31-24 Cougars. Timeout down below. Let's pause for this 30-second break. Cougar Football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. Just a 30.
I won my bet.
Along with the Judge Phil Hawk, I'm Joe Parson. We're in Indianapolis, home of the Knights, Marian University. Hoping to get the ball back. It'll be 3rd down and 6 for St. Francis. Trying to reach their own 46 on this snap.
Yeah, nose of that football resides on the 40-yard line now. If you're St. Francis, you don't want to make a mistake, because even if you don't get the first down, you're in the position to punt the football and give Marian a long field. Marian's got 2 timeouts left.
Big play right now. Ferrer, 2 wide to the right, and drops the throw. Looks, throws a crossing pattern. A dive for the catch is made. Who else but Sean Boswell, and he's got the first down. Is that a big catch or what?
Sean Boswell does it again, Joe.
He is a night killer.
He is. He made his mark originally in his career on this field, and he does it again. Young man out of Ben Davis High School, and he just makes plays.
He's at the 47. Again, Marian not taking. They still have 2 timeouts remaining.
That's hard to imagine. I mean, USF can just run this game out by taking a knee, and that's
rain
it.
Again.
They're in the victory. Well,
no,
not
with 104, but surprising. Here's Green looking, test the middle. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage. That is about it with 57 seconds remaining, and Marian does call their 2nd timeout. They've got 1 remaining. So still 31-24, St. Francis, the silver and blue, trying to come back and win this football game. And we'll be back in 30 seconds. Cougar Football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. Little by little, we'll get caught up. Yeah, we'll get them in. 5:30 yet to go. Welcome back, everybody, with the Judge Phil Hawk. I'm Joe Parson. In St. Francis, trying to run the clock. They'd love to pick up at least 1 more first down. They'll have 2nd down and 10 coming up with the ball at the USF 47-yard line.
Well, Marian can only stop the clock 1 more time. So you're going to go to 3rd down even if they don't convert a first down here.
Were you at that Bishop Luers-Bishop Dwenger game last night?
I was not.
That was a little funny at the end because Luers was leading and tried to run the clock out and didn't work out.
That was a wacky one for sure. Teams turning the ball back and forth to each other.
3 back deep for Marian now. What will Ferrer try to do? Wants to throw over the middle. Quick throw. He's got the catch. Rocky James, I believe, in the middle of the field into Marian territory to the 47-yard line. And Marian takes their final timeout with 52 seconds remaining. We'll step out for another 30 with the Cougars trying to protect that 7-point lead. Cougar Football on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM, Northeast Indiana. One, two, three. Cougars take a look now at 3rd down and a long 4. Under a minute remains. And Phil, one more first down if they can get it at the Marian 43, and this one should be in the win column. But
well, as long as you don't put the ball on the turf or something here for the Cougars, though, you're going to be able to take a lot of time off the clock after this play because they can't stop the clock again.
Plus,
right?
it's an incomplete pass.
Right. That's why you don't want to put the ball. Play it safe here. 52 seconds on the clock. You ought to be able to take at least 35 seconds off the clock before you have to punt the ball.
Spread offense, 2 wide either side. Ferrer needs 4 yards. Does run Green. Green looking for the first down stick. In second effort, did he get there? And I believe he did. Wow. It depends on the spot. With 4th down coming up.
Yeah, they're moving the chains, and
that is it.
That clinches the game. You're just going to have the victory formation now for USF, and a lot of excitement and happiness over in Cougar land across the way. What a battle this game has been.
This has been a classic.
It's a classic is a good way to describe it. 2 great football teams.
We thought it would be a dogfight, and it has been every bit of that. As St. Francis coach's booth, probably as much emotion as I've heard out of them in quite some time. I'm not sure they were that animated down in Daytona Beach.
Well, they've lost to Marian 2 straight times. I mean, that's the only blot on last year's record. Incredible record, national championship record.
Now, what do we have here? They've moved the down marker back to 3rd down.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Cannot figure what this is about. I could see them wanting to measure, and they are measuring. They brought their chains out to the short side.
Well, they're up there right now because they're on the far side of the field.
It is first down.
It is a first down, so.
Look at the Cougars, the teammates on the sidelines just jumping up and down.
Marian certainly was entitled to a measurement on that. It was very
close. No question. So they will bring the ball out now. When they mark it for play, clock will run, and St. Francis assumes the victory formation with, not sure who that is back in center field, just in case. But Ferrer, with Marian no timeouts remaining, takes a knee. And what's going on? Whistle's blowing. Marian thought they've got the football. But Ferrer took the quick knee, so regardless of what happened. But you never know. It's NAIA. We'll wait and see what Tom Burns tells us.
40 seconds on the clock and whistles everywhere. The clock stopped.
Well, Ferrer's knee obviously was down, but Marian desperate. And
and after the knee went down, I can't blame the Marian player for trying that. He just went up and took the ball away from him, but the play was over at that point.
Remember a game several years ago, I know you were there, I think it was Malone, or was it?
Why doesn't the clock start?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, why? Now there's a penalty flag thrown.
The game clock.
It's going to get wild now. Push and shoving, and it's on.
Come on, man, come on, stay off the field.
That's not right. That's not right.
Cooler heads look like they're prevailing right now, but and to USF's credit, they're all staying back on their sideline.
About half the Marian team came on to the field.
But they quickly reversed their path when their coaches got out front and some of their players. That's the good news. The question is, why was the clock not running?
Yeah.
And
I think that's what the first flag was about, perhaps. But now they're going to, clear the field for a moment. Cougars going way back to their own sidelines and downfield. Well, you understand the high emotions in a game like this. 2 top 10 opponents ranked.
You think there's some hard feelings out there right now?
Great to win, but it's a tough one when you lose. And when you think about it, St. Francis lost twice at home, and they are just seconds away from winning their second game here on this field.
Well, they ought to be able to run the clock off here without having to snap the football again.
Well, it's going to be a while, because there were no less than, 4 or 5 yellow hankies thrown as high in the air as they could throw them. Might even be some ejections. You've always got to be concerned about that for next week.
Exactly. That can affect your team long term.
Still no indication.
96 yards and penalties through 3 quarters, but
Phil, if you thought you were going to be out here at 9, you're wrong.
What time could it be? Oh.
Encroachment is the call against, and that's all they're going to call. Now personal fouls against Toom.
Yeah, I just offset those. Yeah.
There's all kind of personal fouls being assessed, and we cannot hear. It is St. Francis
they
ball.
offset them. They just threw the flag both ways.
But the encroachment will make it first down and 5. And you talked about it earlier. Why is there still just 28 seconds on this clock when it stopped at the 40-second mark inexplicably?
Yeah, well, they need to be ahead of that. There need to have been a run-up because the clock did not restart before the last play. And as soon as the ball was placed, it should have started. And
that'll take the ball to the 32, 33-yard line. Again, Ferrer will try it or get the clock running. Taking time off, still 20 on the play clock, takes a knee, and that should do it.
That will do it.
The final play here tonight.
No other possibility. And the fans the teams are coming to midfield to shake hands, and that's a good sign after a hotly contested game, no question about that, but a great victory for USF and a great football game, man. Thanks for bringing me back for this one, buddy. I'll tell you.
Well, Phil, normally we'd have you down there in the mess.
Yeah, that'd be fun too, but I might need some armor.
You might be able to not be able to have a live broadcast down there from field level either. A lot of emotions tonight, hard-hitting, physical, a lot of penalties. And I tell you what, we'll be back to recap it in this Cougar victory, coming back from down 14-0 and twice down 14 points. They win at 31-24. We'll be back with our post-game presentation. We'll take a 1-minute timeout. This is Cougar Football on Redeemer Radio, WRDF 106.3 FM Northeast, Indiana.